is celebrating 56 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance and installation, and heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. AirComfortService.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ring.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, it's Tuesday. Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Glad to be with you this afternoon. We've got Ryan Schmelz coming up here in about 15 minutes, and we are going to talk with Ryan about the latest regarding the government shutdown. This doesn't seem like it has as much steam as the one did last fall. So what does that mean for what is going to happen for those individuals waiting to find out if they're furloughed? Well, that's what we're going to talk to Ryan Schmelz about. We'll get the latest here from Bill Malugin reporting. Can you turn the volume up, please?
Partial government shutdown should be over by some point later today. Now, a large part of that reason is President Trump decided to get involved. He urged a handful of House Republicans to drop their demand to attach the GOP voter ID law known as the SAVE Act to this package of government spending bills. Speaker Johnson says now just isn't the time for that.
We all want the SAVE Act, but we also look at the reality of the numbers here, and we passed the SAVE Act twice in the House. We'll pass it again. We'll do that, but this is a funding package right now, and I don't think we need to be playing games with government funding.
So here's where things stand right now. If Republicans can pass a procedural vote today, they can bring this package of 5 government spending bills to the House floor where it would be expected to pass even with some Democratic votes. Now, that would then end the shutdown today once it got to President Trump's desk. But it wouldn't end the fight over DHS funding, which has to be figured out in the next 10 days. And Democrats are digging in their heels over ice.
So we're going to listen to hear what the Democrats have to say about it as well. But you hear there was a push from Congresswoman Luna, I think was one of the ringleaders of it, in the House to try to make it so that all of this shutdown stuff could also loop in the efforts that they're trying to put in with the SAVE Act. And the SAVE Act is that push to verify your citizenship in order to vote. It's not to make you have to be a citizen to vote. That already is the law. The question is, how do we prove that that person actually is in coordination with the law, that they are citizens? The Republicans are saying you should have to prove it, and the Democrats are saying that's Jim Crow. So here's what the Democrats, this is their problem with the shutdown here.
And I refuse to fund such a lawless, out-of-control agency. I will not vote for business as usual while mass agents break into people's homes without a judicial warrant in violation of the Fourth Amendment.
And Republicans say they are ready to have that fight.
To be clear, I'm going to be fighting like hell to ensure that we've got the resources necessary for the men and women of Border Patrol, ICE, and the other people at Homeland Security to secure this nation against violent criminals that are endangering the people of the United States.
And Kaylee, even if the House is able to end that partial government shutdown later today, it's hard to see how this fight over DHS funding is going to get figured out in just the next 10 days. On one side, you've got Democrats who are demanding masks off and judicial warrants. Then you've got Republicans out there who are already saying that is a complete non-starter for them.
Bill Malugin reporting this morning, 30 in the morning, and we've had some movement since then. So what is going to happen with the government shutdown? Is this a story? I wonder how many of you are even following it, how you're paying, as close attention to this as you might have been with the original government shutdown. It was bigger. It was the longest one we've ever had. Now, one of the things that was mentioned there is the SAVE Act. And yesterday, if you weren't able to hear us talk with Representative Mary Miller, we discussed a little bit about the SAVE Act, but also the MEGA Act, which is the Make Elections Great Again Act that she is one of the co-sponsors to. You can hear that podcast on the Odyssey app if you find the Annie Fry Show there. We'd love to have you take a visit there. The question that faces many Americans is how do we ensure that our elections are secure? People on the right and the left are not feeling super great and super confident in whatever the election results may be. If your side wins, you don't really throw a fit about it. If your side loses, you just assume that that election was never fair and safe to begin with. I remember Hillary Clinton wrote an entire book called What Happened? after she lost a presidential election to Donald Trump, because in the process of not winning that election, what ended up happening? She had excuses. She had a Russia hoax to fall back on. And remember, for her, it wasn't really a hoax. For her, it was just like a tell-all of this is exactly what took place. Russia was infiltrating. Russia wanted Donald Trump. Why? Because Donald Trump would be weak, that Putin would be able to walk all over him. Russia didn't want Hillary Clinton to be in the mix, so Russia pulled all the strings that they could in order to ensure that Donald Trump was elected. We found out here in the last year or so that that wasn't accurate, and that it was actually the interest of Russia for Hillary Clinton to be the one who was elected. That the actual intelligence that we had on the books was that Russia's preference of winning the 2016 election was going to actually be for Hillary Clinton to make out with the victory. Nobody talks about that. All of the things that get thrown in the way of this president over and over and over again. And then, of course, you get the 2020 election, which the President Trump currently still says is absolutely not. He says he won that election. He thinks he's very confident that he has won 3 elections so far, 3 consecutive elections. So what do we do to make our elections secure? Well, the Senate, Republicans specifically, are working very hard on the SAVE Act. And as you heard Speaker Johnson there talking about it, the House is in favor of the SAVE Act. Now, with every week, it seems as though the balance of power shifts one step forward to the Democrats. And with the Republicans now, with a Democrat winning a Texas seat in the House that was a strong Trump district, in a special election for a prior Democrat who had passed away, I think, within the last year, the majority there is razor thin. There's not room for error here. So anytime something has to go back to the House, if the Senate passes the SAVE Act but tweaks it and the House has to vote to approve it again, it's almost as if the iteration of what the House, which they previously approved, would have to do the next time around. It might be the case that the makeup of the House has changed since the last time they took up a vote on something like that, and they might not be able to get it passed. Here's Harry Enton talking on CNN about showing ID to vote, because that's really what the SAVE Act is all about. How do people feel? How do voters feel? How do citizens feel about what the SAVE Act would do for our elections and the necessity to show ID to vote?
Take a look here. Favorite photo ID to vote. 85% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of Black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote.
So this is where you go into time capsule. If you were to take what I just played there and throw it back, 10 years or so, and you've got somebody saying to you that the voters agree with Nicki Minaj, you know in that moment that something has developed over the course of those 10 years that you can't quite make sense of. That we are now in a different timeline, and due to that, we just are going to have to make the best of it and figure it out as we go. We're going to speak with Ryan Schmelz here in a bit. We're going to get the details and the latest of this government shutdown. Another thing I'm going to ask him about, too, is the Epstein files. The Epstein files have been released. I believe that the word from the Justice Department is that they have been released in full. As of January 30th, Brooke Singman reported on Fox News, the Justice Department released more than 3 million Jeffrey Epstein records, including his personal emails, Friday. And with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche telling Fox News Digital that in none of these communications, even when doing his best to disparage President Trump, did Epstein suggest that President Trump had done anything criminal or had any inappropriate contact with any of his victims. This is something that Todd Blanche, who I hear a lot of people on the right criticizing Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, not necessarily a major friend to the right, that's just what I've gleaned from reports on this. More from Blanche, quote, during the course of our investigation, We seized years and years worth of Epstein's personal emails. These are communications with hundreds and hundreds of individuals discussing intimate details of Epstein's and others' lives. In none of these communications, even when doing his best to disparage President Trump, did Epstein suggest President Trump had done anything criminal or had any inappropriate contact with any of his victims. Now, is that going to do the trick for folks? No. Are we going to still hear every single time that the news pukes out another story that is not really in favor of the lawless, anti-law and order Democrat left? What about those Epstein files? That's the response regularly. And it's the truth of the matter is that I think that they are saying that the Epstein files are out as much as they possibly can. And if you were to get more of it, there would have to be unredactions to bits and pieces of information, which I think would be valuable for the public to see. But I also understand to a certain extent that you don't want to expose actual victims or sources and methods. Now, if you don't trust the people in charge, the Justice Department or the FBI or whomever is doing the redactions, if you don't trust them to be forthright and honest with what they're electing to redact and not redact, you're never gonna be happy. And I think that's probably a bipartisan position that I don't trust these people. I trust them probably right now as much as I can, but Lord knows there's still a bureaucracy that's steeped in the swamp there. And there are people constantly working against the effort of the administration. President Trump just happens to have a better handle on it than he did the first time around. But what was able to take place during the Biden administration? Why were these files not released during the Biden administration? Especially if those files had some sort of negative effect on Donald Trump, would they have saved those files till let's wait until after he wins the election, and then let's really put the pressure on him to release those files when he's in office? I don't think so, Tim. I just don't think that that's the way that this story is going to pan out. The YouTube live chat poll for today: the Department of Justice drops 3 million plus Epstein pages with names and images. What's your biggest takeaway so far right now? So where are you on the Epstein file release? Here are your 4 options. You think it exposes elite corruption? You think the DOJ cover-up is still happening? You think it's time for prosecutions? Or it's overhyped? Time to move on. Could the Epstein files really be overhyped? I'm looking at the votes right now, and some of you certainly think so. Go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel and vote. And you can text us your thoughts at 314-241-9797. That's 314-241-9797. And let us know how you feel about the latest 3 million plus drop of Epstein pages. How you feeling about it? When we come back, Ryan Schmelz here with us, the Fox News Radio Capitol Hill and White House correspondent, on the latest to get this government open back up. Ryan Schmelz next.
Mark Reardon, and learn how to create a worry-free retirement with the Retirement Advisory Group. It's coming up on Tuesday, February 17th at the DoubleTree Hotel in Chesterfield at 6:30 p.m. Here are Bob and Tammy Kershaw with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering how to turn your 401k and IRA into a worry-free retirement? Would you like to learn the strategies that give you market growth but protects you from market losses at the same time?
Would you like to get a free personalized retirement income plan? And did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to create a worry-free retirement. If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Have a worry-free retirement and join the official financial advisors of my show, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, at the DoubleTree Hotel in Chesterfield, Tuesday, February 17th at 6:30 p.m. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com. We depend on our roofs to keep us dry and protected year-round. That's why the roofing company you choose is so important. Mark Cox here for my friends at Correll Roofing Company. You can trust my friend Curtis Correll. And here's one thing he'll tell you right now, and it's his experience. A lot of roofing companies will try to install roofs when the temperature is below freezing. And here's what you need to know. Curtis has been praised by a lot of people in the industry because he will not install a roof on those cold days. He said that shingle manufacturers will deny warranty claims if that roof is installed on a sub 40-degree day. Did you know that? That's why honesty is important. If your insurance company has denied coverage for your roof, call Curtis at Corel Roofing. He loves working with insurance companies. He would be happy to get a second assessment from them. Call him at 314-222-9529. Tell him Mark Cox sent you. You can go online anytime at CorelRoofingCo.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Are you confident you have the votes for this rule vote to pass, and do you expect any Republican no votes at all?
I don't, and this may be hard for some of y'all to believe, but I never doubted this. This was not this is not my preferred route. I wanted to keep all 6 bills together. We worked so hard to pass them through the House, and I thought that should have been a package that sailed through the Senate, got to the president's desk, so we can fund government responsibly. We're spending less money year over year, and we're returning regular order around here, and that's a commitment I made when I became Speaker, and we're finally getting it done. But listen, the president agreed with Schumer that they would separate Homeland, and we'll do that, and we'll handle it. We're going to pass the rule today. It was never in doubt to me. The Republicans are going to do the responsible thing.
So Speaker Johnson speaking this morning regarding the government shutdown, and we want to go directly to the man in the room. Ryan Schmelz joins us once again, the Fox News Radio, Capitol Hill, and White House correspondent. Ryan, great to see you. Busy day there on Capitol Hill for you.
Busy day. And, the Speaker was right. They did get the rule vote passed, but it was not easy whatsoever. And that was quite the process we just witnessed.
So talk to me about where the breakdown was there for the House. I know that there were Republicans. We just talked a little bit about the Republicans who were trying to implement a SAVE Act situation in the House. What was the breakdown? How did the Speaker overcome it?
In the end, you only had one Republican vote no. And keep in mind, these rule votes traditionally are supposed to not have this type of inter-party pushback. Traditionally, a rule vote is just done with the party in power voting yes, the party opposed voting no, and it doesn't matter where you're going to vote on final passage. You usually vote with your conference on it. That has not been the case the last two Congresses. And in this situation, you had John Rose, the congressman from Tennessee who's running for governor, decide to vote no at first. And that was over the SAVE Act because Leader Thune had some comments earlier where he didn't exactly commit to what Anna Paulina Luna had said was the path forward on the SAVE Act in terms of abolishing the filibuster or getting rid of the filibuster to pass the SAVE Act. So Rose decided to vote no. He eventually flipped over to voting yes. We don't know what it was that got him over to that yes vote just yet, but it was able to get through, and now it goes into final passage. They're actually debating it right now on my monitor, and then they will vote on this a little bit later on, and it's probably expected to be fairly bipartisan.
So is it just the House that needs to pass it, or will it need to go to the Senate after the House here? Which part of the court here is the ping pong ball in?
This has already passed the Senate, so this just needs to pass the House, and pretty much the government will reopen. We'll have pretty much every single government agency, except for the Department of Homeland Security, funded until the end of September. Homeland will be funded for about 2 weeks based off how this bill is written, and that will be it's supposed to give them enough time to negotiate something on ICE and DHS, but yeah, I think Leader Thune had a comment earlier where he said it would be impossible to be able to do that. So we're going to see what happens in the next 2 weeks after we get through this.
The funding for ICE, I've heard reports that there was funding for DHS specifically, I think, in the Big Beautiful Bill, so that there was some implementation of funds that would be provided to keep this department going on. What is the delineation here between what the Big Beautiful Bill has funded and what we're trying to get taken care of right now?
And pretty much ICE is just the big beautiful bill gave ICE enough money to keep it open until 2029 is kind of the estimates I've heard. Now, um, you can't implement certain policies unless the government passes a budget, and that kind of establishes how an agency is funded. So this would give ICE essentially more money if they pass the DHS budget or spending bill later on. But right now, yeah, that's one of the curious questions that get asked is that, ICE is already funded. So even if there is a government shutdown, ICE can still carry out its operations, and so can a good portion of the Department of Homeland Security. Obviously, they can't do it for very long because that money does dry up in a shutdown relatively quickly, but it is still funding that keeps ICE around until 2029.
Okay, so let's talk about the disagreements and maybe some of the concessions that have made across parties right now with the president being involved in this conversation. I've got, on the top of my brain, cameras for ICE. I know that Democrats don't want them wearing masks. What are the issues that each party is bringing to the table right now that need to be resolved in order for them to come to an agreement?
There's a couple. I think the masks are the one that everyone kind of agrees on. That was actually in the initial bill that we saw passed a couple weeks ago.
When you say everyone agrees on them, Republicans and Democrats?
Not everybody, but it's something that that was negotiated between Republicans and Democrats during the last, before Alex Preddy got shot. This is when after the Renee Good incident, Democrats wanted changes to ICE. Body cameras is one of the things they agreed on. There's funding for body cameras in that previous DHS budget. That got killed by Democrats in the Senate because they didn't feel it went far enough. So body cameras seems to be the one that they're not going to have any issues with moving forward. But yeah, the masks coming off, the ban on roving patrols, and there was a universal code of conduct that and that was part of Senate Democrats and Leader Schumer's push. House Democrats kind of put out today what they want, which is they want universal judicial warrants for apprehensions. They want a couple other things. So that might be a little bit harder to negotiate. And that's where this question is going to be asked about, are Democrats in the House and Democrats in the Senate on the same page? Because the White House negotiated directly with Leader Schumer, is our understanding of how they got this current deal done that they're going to have a vote on later today. And that's why you're going to want to watch to see how many Democrats vote yes and vote no. Because if you see Democratic leadership vote no on this thing, then this ICE negotiation could get a little interesting with how Democrats in both the House and the Senate view each other in terms of what they're willing to say yes to, what they're going to say no to.
So, that makes me think to myself, who is really the strong arm of the Democrat Party on Capitol Hill? Who's the leader? In the Nancy Pelosi days, I don't think there were any questions about it. I think everybody knew we're going to try to get what we get, and then we'll see if Nancy's okay with it. Is there a strong force on the Democrat side of the aisle right now that wields the power that maybe a Pelosi did?
I mean, you still have Schumer, you still have Jeffries, but, in terms of who wields the power, it's kind of hard to know because, they're still in the minority. There's still very limited things that they can do. A lot of House Democrats, no one in leadership, but some rank and file have been very critical of Chuck Schumer. They've gone after Chuck Schumer, said he should step aside. They believe he should resign. It's hard to know who truly is in charge. I mean, you have the leadership, right? But based off of how this government funding battle is shaped out and how quickly a deal was struck here, it seems like the White House has no interest and actually might enjoy going to Chuck Schumer and negotiating directly with Chuck Schumer, because we found out that they were talking, right once the government was about to shut down. They came up with a deal pretty quick. And it doesn't appear that House Democrats were really looped in on that. And that was a question I had for one of the members of their leadership earlier, the number 3 Democrat, Pete Aguilar. And he was like, I wasn't privy to those conversations. He kind of brushed off that it was a problem. But the reality is that we've already seen the White House work out one deal with Chuck Schumer and not really have Hakeem Jeffries too involved with that. So, we'll see how that shapes. That's something you're going to watch for is, Jeffries has downplayed any issues between him and Schumer so far. But if this continues and the White House only talks to one group of Democrats and not the other, could that change? Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan Schmelz speaking with us right now, the Fox News Radio, Capitol Hill, and White House correspondent. I did want to ask you about the Epstein files. 3 million more documents released by, I guess, the Department of Justice within the last less than a week or so. This was all spurred. Is it my understanding that Thomas Massey's effort to get these documents released, is that really what we're getting right now? Did that all come out of a demand made by a House member?
It was from the bill that they passed, which was fairly unanimous, which pretty much said that the Department of Justice has to make available and put on a downloadable link on its website all documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Obviously, there were still some things that were redacted. There was still some. There's still a lot of black there, covering up certain names, certain sensitive information. But this was essentially part of the law. And, the DOJ's faced some criticism for how slow the process has been. But they've made it clear that they could only, if they were going to go through and redact everything and make sure the legal parameters were there, it was going to take some time. And the deadline was hard for them to work with. But it appears that it's all out now and people are making their own judgments about it. And I mean, there was quite a accusation made by Ted Lieu, who's the number 4 House Democrat earlier, where he said that there are accusations of Donald Trump. I got to be careful. I want to pull the full quote up in a second, but if you want to ask your next question, go
well,
ahead.
I was going to ask you, too, about the news today that Representative Comer has said that Bill and Hillary to testify in the Epstein probe. That's the Elizabeth Elkind Fox News report, saying that the Clintons will appear for sit-down depositions at the end of February, and that is according to the House Oversight Committee. So it seems as though there's been some development there, some pressure, and some concession made by the Clintons to sit down and have that conversation.
Yeah, and there was plans to have a vote to hold the Clintons in contempt of Congress, and it was probably going to pass. It was probably going to pass in a very bipartisan fashion. So in many ways, the Clintons probably had no choice if they wanted to avoid that vote, which was to come in for a deposition. It seems like they're still working out when that's going to happen and how that's going to happen. I believe the Clintons are asking for this thing to be made public, which I think Democrats, from what we understand, want that to be the case. Republicans might be here or there. It depends. Normally how the Oversight Committee does this is they do a closed-door deposition first, and then they allow for a public hearing after that happens.
Right.
That's how they did it during the Biden impeachment investigation. So it seems like that's kind of what they're trying to do right now, but I think they're still working through all that.
And I also think it'll be interesting, too, to see, like, is there going to be a natural conclusion to this Epstein story as well? Because people think about the Epstein files. Of course, we know the tons of redactions that exist in the 3 million files that have already been released here just recently. Are there more, to your knowledge, that have been reported to have been withheld and aren't going to be released? Is there another chapter in this book? Where are we on the Epstein file timeline of being released?
It seems like most of it, if not all of it's out. That's my understanding. Now, of course, there could be more that are out there, but it seems like the DOJ has released everything it can to this point. I mean, we got millions of documents during the last dump, so there's a lot in there. And here was the I had for you earlier. So Ted Lieu says the reason why Republicans are interested in the Clintons is to distract from the fact that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times. There is highly disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children, of Donald Trump threatening to kill children. That is a pretty substantial accusation that a member of Democratic leadership is making right there, I would think.
Yeah, and certainly we've seen what President Trump has done when people have said certain things like that are unfounded, untrue. We heard from, I read this a little bit earlier in the show, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche saying in none of these, this is his quote, in none of these communications, even when doing his best to disparage President Trump, did Epstein suggest President Trump had done anything criminal or had any inappropriate contact with any of his victims. I did see some circulation on X of documents. It was a spreadsheet. Some things were highlighted in yellow, and they were up, then they were down. Jake Tapper shared the original documents. I think they had been taken down. He's like, here's what they removed. Is there any reason why? Do you understand why those were available and then made to not be available?
I do not know. No, I've not seen that. Yeah, so I don't know. I've not seen that one specifically.
I've seen reports afterwards that said that they were like unfounded. Like all of the documents, there's different columns, and it's like these are second and third hand sources. This was all proven to be false or whatever. So I assume that's why it went away.
And also, it's like, now that we're in the age of AI and Photoshop and how easy it is to manipulate information. I mean, not the average American's not going to read through every single one of these documents. So it's pretty easy for somebody to claim that they found this in the millions and millions of documents that are out there. And it could easily be something that's not true. So this is the problem that we face as a country in general, is that information like this is made available and you can easily manipulate that information. It could be completely fake.
Yeah.
So especially something as easy as this, it's just a document. These are just documents. It's just words and it's paper. It's one thing to manipulate an AI image or an image of somebody. We've seen how accurate they can make that look and how realistic they can make that look. Imagine how easy it is to manipulate a couple words on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It's scary stuff.
It's very difficult. It's why we rely on folks like you, Ryan Schmelz, to give us facts and information and keep us on the straight and narrow. Ryan Schmelz, thank you for the update from Capitol Hill. Last question real quick. When will the government be reopened? Do you know the date and time?
We could have it as soon as today. It could be reopened. They just need to pass this. They're still debating right now. They're expected to vote as soon as debate wrapped up, and then pretty much President Trump just has to sign it into law. Every single government agency is funded till the end of September, except for DHS.
Wow, that's pretty impressive, actually, all things considered. Ryan Schmelz, come back again soon. We appreciate you. Thank you for your time today.
Sounds good, Annie. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Ryan Schmelz is the Fox News Radio, Capitol Hill, and White House correspondent, as I refer to him as the man in the room. It's always great to have his perspective, his reporting here on the show. Go vote in the YouTube poll today. Department of Justice dropping 3 million plus Epstein pages with names and images. What's your biggest takeaway? That it's exposed elite corruption? That the DOJ is still covering it up? Time for prosecutions, or it's overhyped? Let's move on. Go vote in the Annie Fry YouTube channel live chat poll, and you can text us your thoughts at 314-241-9797. We'll be back in a minute. Don't go away.
We need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at on FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
License number GL250000615.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Home power used to be simple. Now the car plugs in, the scooter plugs in, the space heater plugs in, and your electric panel starts popping.
That sounds bad, but I like popcorn.
Popcorn is great, sparks are not. Call Grasser. We'll upgrade your panel so you can run it all.
Electric and plumbing, the Grasser way.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeServices.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
Scott, remember when the Queen of Carpet and the Princess of Pile were flying around the arch selling flooring?
Andrea, that was the Queen of Carpet and the Princess of Tile.
Oh, that's right. But we don't need shtick here at Best Buy Flooring.
That's right, because our in-stock selection of carpet, carpet tile, sheet vinyl, laminate, hardwood, luxury vinyl plank, and luxury vinyl tile are already at low, low prices.
Come see us at our 3 area locations, North County, South County, and Metro East. Open 7 days a week.
Plus, free financing on approved credit. Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy Flooring.
Today's YouTube live chat poll. The DOJ drops 3 million plus Epstein pages with names and images. What's your biggest takeaway is what we want to know. Does it expose elite corruption? Does it show a DOJ cover-up? Time for prosecutions? Or is it overhyped and time to move on? We want to know what you think, so you can jump on Annie's YouTube page, vote in the poll, and you can send us a text at 314-241-9797 and share your thoughts there. We'll be monitoring the text line. The time is 12:38. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
Built on backbone, not buzzwords. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis conservative.
Well, we're waiting right now to see the mother of Savannah Guthrie, Nancy Guthrie, has disappeared, and it's really interesting, sad, and I don't know all the correct words to say about where they are in this process, because there's supposed to be a press conference happening here any minute right now, and in the process of doing that, it's difficult to tell whether she is deceased already, whether she's been captured, whether she wandered away. There have been reported very, very confidently that she didn't have cognitive concerns, that she was somebody who was very mentally with it. So then you have to ask yourself, well, how do we get to the point where she could just disappear? This morning there was a report that I guess your pacemaker syncs up with your Apple Watch or whatever, so you can keep track of certain types of diagnostics of your heart system there. And this morning they discovered that the specific time with which it stopped syncing up, which would be a good helpful clue in the process of figuring out at least a timeline of the last time she might have been at home or not. So here's a report from this morning.
She's 84 years old. A lot of concern for Nancy Guthrie. Here we go. Over the past 4 days now, it was late on Saturday night when she apparently had dinner with one of their kids, was dropped off at her house sometime between 9:30 and 9:45 local time in the evening. Then on Sunday, 3 critical times in the morning, the family alerted the police when she did not attend church. Then at noon, the family churches and then contacts the sheriff's department that day. In the evening, the sheriff asked the public, as he is still doing today, to ask for more help and leaning on the public to give him any clues that they possibly can. Then we go to yesterday on Monday when it broke national news when the sheriff said Nancy did not walk away and the home is now a crime scene. She's 84 years old, a lot of concern.
So that's the report from Bill Hemmer earlier this morning. And while we wait for the press conference to take place right now, we really don't know. They haven't said that she's passed away, so they don't have her body. So we don't know if she's alive, if it's a search for Nancy Guthrie, who might be alive and obviously in danger, or if it's a situation where they know that she's deceased and it's just a matter of locating the people who did this to her to make sure that obviously nobody else would be in harm's way. But it is a frightening situation to watch unfold here. Here's some more information. I find this to be very interesting. If you're somebody who has a pacemaker or something already, you probably are well versed to this, but how many things do you track on? Do you have a smartwatch, Ethan?
Mm-hmm.
What do you track on it?
My steps, heart rate
And
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of biometrics that I track on my Galaxy Watch. Same type of thing there. Just time at rest. You can track water intake. You can track lady stuff on there. You can
sleep quality, I think.
Yeah, if you wear. I cannot wear my watch at night.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I've thought about the ring that you can wear. Have you seen those Aura rings? I've considered that before, but the possibility of this being a factual breakthrough, the Apple Watch that she had and the biometric monitoring. This is Nicole Parker reporting
the fact
on
that the pacemaker was no longer there and able to sync to the devices, that is extremely crucial. I think another thing that law enforcement will be looking at were there any other devices that were attempting to, when you go into an area and it says, would you like to sync to this Wi-Fi? I'm sure that they'll be checking to see if the intruder brought any of their own devices to see if anything hit routers, to see if they can backtrack in that way as well.
The amount of ways that we are all being tracked at any given time, pretty incredible. And most of it you're willfully signing up for. There's no way out of that at this point in time. Like the convenience that is provided by all of the digital technology, and also the benefit too. How many people walk more steps because they can look down and I can see right now that I have 1,200 steps on the day? Not so great. Might end the day with, today's going to be a big day, long day for me. So it'll be more than 1,200, but you can monitor your health in a way that you never even would have considered. Ask somebody from 1988 how many steps they took that day. No idea.
Mm-hmm.
Not even a metric that you would consider, because nobody tracked that.
I imagine it was probably more than the average amount of steps being taken today.
I wonder if people walked more in the 80s just because there were less things to do. Like, I just think about kids.
I feel like there was just a lot less desk jobs too, probably.
Not
to say there wasn't still a large amount of them, but I mean, you just think about how technology has evolved and how more jobs are way more tech-based than they used to be. That's where my mindset. There was just a lot more blue-collar working going on back then.
I think that you definitely went to work. You didn't work from home the way people do work from home right now. But I would even say if you set aside, if I were to concede your argument about work, I would think about all of the other time that you have to spend. You have way less. There are way less things to entertain you while you're just sitting down. You're kind of going to get up and go do something.
Yeah.
Or, instead of sitting in front of the TV because you have endless options of things that you can watch, you maybe instead of that, you just go outside and take a little bit of a walk for a minute or something like that.
Kids certainly were having more steps.
Yeah. I want to play this press conference here. Is this actually the live press conference, or is this is now?
It says live.
Let's listen in and see here. This is from Tucson, and again, the Nancy Guthrie disappearance, which we have enough information on it to cause you to lean in and go, what's going on here? It's very frightening. My heart goes out to, and prayers go out to the Guthrie family, certainly. But I'm going to listen in here.
If I could, I'm terribly sorry. We've got this update out of Arizona. Let's get to that.
Pretty new, all the media attention. So I apologize to you for sometimes I'm speaking in generalities, and I'm not used to everybody hanging on to my words and then trying to hold me accountable for what I say. But I understand. So we're going to try our best to be succinct with you in the future. And also more important for you to understand is we have a lot of work in front of us. We have a job to do. And we have someone's life who is in jeopardy. And so job number one is we got to find her, and we got to work hard to do that. I understand there's great attention on this. And rightfully so. And I appreciate it. And I thank you for it because it has generated a lot of leads for us. And so we're tracking those leads, and we're doing things with evidence that you would expect us to be doing. So having said that, we're going to set this up. I know that a number of you yesterday, you guys drove me crazy. Yesterday I was going from a.m. to all the way till 9, 10, 11, midnight, answering concerns and questions, and it's just too tough. And it's not fair to the case. So what I'm going to tell you is today we're going to do this similar to what we're doing right now. Here we'll take questions. It's not really my briefing, it's your briefing. You'll be able to ask us some questions. We'll probably shut you off after a while because I just can't be here all day. We have work to do. But we'll take some questions, and then in a couple of days, unless something breaks, we'll do this every couple of days. So, and we'll set up with you through our PIO teams to give you anything that comes up that might change, but clearly they will notify you on these, what I call media briefings. So with that, I'm going to ask John to come up. If you've got a statement to say, John, and then we'll take some questions and we'll get back to work.
Hello, I'm John Edwards. My spelling is Jonedwards. I'm the Assistant Special Agent in charge of the FBI's office here in Tucson. First, we want the community to know that the FBI is doing everything in our power to bring Nancy Guthrie home to her family. The FBI is working alongside the Pima County Sheriff's Department on this incident. In terms of what the FBI is doing, we are providing the following support. Primarily, it's analytical and technical support in the following ways. We're downloading and analyzing cell phones, obtaining cell tower information, conducting interviews, and providing any and all investigative support that the Sheriff's Department needs. We're looking at this from every angle, but we need your help. If you live in the area or saw something on Saturday night, the 31st of January, or Sunday morning, the 1st of February, please report it to the Pima County Sheriff's Department or the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. Every lead and tip is important. We are aggressively pursuing and looking into every single one. Again, please help us bring Nancy Guthrie home. Thank you.
We'll take some questions.
Sheriff, is there any indication so far as to whether this was a random abduction or targeted?
Well, it's like I said earlier, we're looking at all the leads, and we don't know. We're going to assume both sides of that. We'll look at both sides of that.
Sheriff, any idea what Nancy Guthrie was wearing or the type of car?
Well, if you listen to the press conference there, they said they want to bring Nancy Guthrie home. And, I was saying here off the air, like, we need to know if you think she's dead or alive. Well, there's no indication they think for sure that she's dead at this point. I'm sure that everybody is in fear of that. But it appears as though they're asking for tips, and they have reason to believe that she is still in a position to be brought home. So that's the update right now. If more comes of this, we'll dip back into it. Real quick before we go to a break, let's get to Ethan's America Today.
Wiggins. Oh, Wiggins. Not Wiggins America. Ethan's America.
Oh.
Ethan's America.
Ethan, you don't deserve this.
Don't act like you don't.
It's just
totally
really
endorse this happening.
I like you more than Ryan.
I don't even want to hear it from you right now.
But I like that Ryan did that. He did a
Oh,
good job.
you don't deserve this, but I absolutely love this.
I do.
This is terrible.
I've told you,
But amazing.
and I will continue to tell you that if you want it to be different, you should make yourself a new intro. And you said, I don't want to work that hard, which, again, is the most Ryan Wiggins thing you've ever said.
It's kind of true.
That's that.
We have made it to the Winter Olympics. They crept up on us, quite literally. They start tomorrow.
You said they start tomorrow. I had no idea. How do I not know that?
They start tomorrow. I was very thrown off by that. I was like, hey, what should Wiggins America be? And all of a sudden, bam, there it is. All
right,
so we it technically the main stuff gets going on February 6th, but all of the opening stuff, the beginning.
Time out. Where is it?
I was going to get to that.
Okay.
It's in Milan.
Ooh,
And Cortina, Italy.
Oh, yeah.
There will be 2,800 athletes and 116 events going on at these Winter Olympics. The opening ceremony is this is funny. It says that some of the events start in the next day or two.
Mm-hmm.
I guess probably some of the the preliminary events if I had to guess. But the opening ceremony it says is taking place on February 6th. So I'm not sure how exactly that works. In our time, it'll be 1:30 Central Time on the 6th.
I just looked up Milan, Italy time versus St. Louis time.
Yep. And so 1:30 is when the opening ceremony will be on February 6th. But then there will be a primetime big presentation at 8 o'clock, or I guess 7 o'clock Central Time later that night. It'll be broadcast on NBC, the Peacock app, NBC app, all of NBC's streaming services. Opening ceremony is going to be held in San Siro Stadium in Milan.
Is Bad Bunny going to be there?
Not that I know of, but
you're saying there's a chance.
There could always be a chance. I can tell you who will be there. Mike Tirico, after calling Super Bowl 60,
oh really,
is going to be one of the main people covering. You know how Bob Costas used to always do the coverage. Mike Tirico kind of heads the coverage now, but he's also the play-by-play for NBC football games. So
Tirico
he is going to be
work
calling
for ESPN, right? I'm sure I think he did.
I'm
pretty sure
I can't keep up with them.
That when ESPN Radio first came to St. Louis on some dinky little station that I used to run the board for, I think the Mike Tirico show was a show that I had to board out for. That's how I remember him.
Terry Gannon.
Him and Al Franken, different stations.
Terry Gannon will be hosting the ceremony alongside three-time Olympic snowboarding champion Shaun White, so that'll be kind of cool. The flag bearers for Team USA will be Aaron Jackson, who competes in long track speed skating, and Frank DeLuca, who competes in bobsledding. Lover or hater, you can't escape her. Mariah Carey, the headliner for the opening ceremony.
I can. Watch me.
All I want for the Winter Olympics is not Mariah Carey. Well, you're getting her. Andre Puccelli will also be one of the performers joining Mariah Carey, as well as several other Italian singers. So that's kind of cool, at least.
I think Mariah Carey is one of the greatest divas of a generation. She has always been, like, in order to be a diva, you have to know 100% that you're a diva. And then you have to, like, level up the divaness. And she is 100% that.
That's pretty well said.
I kind of respect her for that, just like being self-aware.
For anyone wondering, when's the next time that the Winter Olympics are coming back to the United States? I assumed that was on everyone's minds here. That'll be
a lot of assumptions today, Ethan.
2034, Salt Lake City, Utah will be the next time that they are here. Oh yeah, okay. I was like, what? What are you talking about? I have no idea.
Mitt Romney brought
I'm following you now.
Olympics to Salt Lake in maybe like I'm guessing 94. Is that a real thing?
I think that was the year that they were there. There are a few different St. Louisans. They're going to be competing in the Winter Olympics. Joy Dunn will be competing on the women's ice hockey team. First-time Olympian from O'Fallon, Missouri. Attended Fort Zumwalt South High School. Graduated in 2023, so not that long ago. I think we've talked a little bit about the men's hockey players that'll be there. Clayton Keller, who's the captain of the Utah Mammoth, grew up was born in Chesterfield, grew up in the area. Nick Saraceno will represent will be playing for Italy's men's ice hockey team. We talked about the Tkachuk brothers, Brady Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk, both going to be competing as well. So quite a few different names from the St. Louis area that will be competing, and it all gets started here in the next day or two.
Scale is 0 to 10, 10 being the most possible. How pumped are you for the Olympics?
I'm excited for ice hockey.
You sports broadcaster are doing the right thing here.
Ice hockey is going to be great.
Okay.
Four Nations face-off a couple years ago.
So
phenomenal tease.
So a 10.
So for hockey, yes, 10. I am quite literally a 10.
10
Everything
10.
else,
Brad?
I'll say I'm more excited about this than I am the Cardinals.
Whoa!
Another non-answer. I ask questions. Nobody answers them on the
4.
show. I am.
You got your answer.
I just
4.
found out that the Olympics happened.
You fired up, Annie?
I'm mustering up a 1.
Let's
here.
go.
I'm mustering up a 1. The Salt Lake City Olympics were in 2002. I was close. We'll be right back with Jim Talent. Don't go away.
Made it affordable to get life insurance. Signing up was fast and 100% online. I knew that I could pay our mortgage and have food in the fridge. I could focus on my kids. No one ever tells you how much you're going to depend on that policy. I am so grateful we had coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Oh, hello. It's me, the calculator that lives inside of TaxSlayer. And let me tell you, I love numbers. 1040s, 1099s, W-2s, all of them. With TaxSlayer, anyone can file a federal return for just $22.99. You'll get 100% accuracy and your biggest possible refund guaranteed. Now those are great numbers. Need help along the way? We've got US-based real human support. File by February 8th for just $22.99 and get the refund you deserve. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Heidi Ricken Provost of Ricken Financial understands the importance of financial stability in your retirement plans.
If there's something we can do to help benefit your financial future and provide more strength and stability in your retirement plan, that's exactly what we do here. And we do so on a complimentary basis.
Call today, 314-207-6211 or online at rickenfinancial.com and join us for Kickin' with the Rickens, Sundays at 1 p.m. right here on 97.1 FM Talk.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor.
Wait, Corey from Air Comfort Service? What are you doing in my basement?
Standing behind our work.
It's 9 p.m.
At Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation, we take pride in our work. If you need heating service, no matter the time of day or night, we're here to help with 24/7 emergency service.
So you're just going to stand behind my furnace?
Yeah, pretty much.
Can you hand me those paper towels then?
Absolutely. For heating service or HVAC maintenance, visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy plates, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit throttlenet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Iran harassing the U.S. military. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. CENTCOM says an Iranian drone was shot down after aggressively approaching the aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln in the Arabian Sea, and that 2 Iranian Navy gunboats were threatening to seize a U.S.-flagged tanker in the Strait of Hormuz before the U.S. Air Force and a guided missile destroyer intervened. White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt just telling Fox she spoke with Pentagon officials.
Who said that CENTCOM acted both appropriately and necessarily to protect our U.S. personnel and equipment in the region.
This just days before the U.S. and Iran are expected to hold direct nuclear talks.
As for the president, he remains committed to always pursuing diplomacy first. But in order for diplomacy to work, of course, it takes 2 to tango. You need a willing partner to engage.
Leavitt says at this point, the Friday talks with Iran are still scheduled. U.S. Envoy Steve Witkoff is in Israel today, meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu. President Trump has been meeting with the president of Colombia, who accepted a White House invitation after a recent phone call following months of tension and the ouster of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro to face criminal charges in the U.S. The first husband of former First Lady Jill Biden is accused of killing his current wife.
Bill Stevenson is arrested and charged with first-degree murder 5 weeks after his wife of 40 years, Linda, was found unresponsive and pronounced dead at their home in Delaware. Newcastle County Police have been called about a domestic dispute. No cause of death is included in the department's statement about the arrest. Stevenson's 77 years old. Linda was his second wife. He married then Jill Jacobs in 1970. They separated in 1974. She started dating then Senator Joe Biden the next year, 2 months before her divorce was final.
Fox's Chris Foster. They're pursuing all leads, that from sheriff's officials and the FBI in Arizona on day 3 of the search for Nancy Guthrie, 84-year-old mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. They say so far no evidence pointing to a suspect. America is listening to Fox News.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZzzQuil Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZzzQuil Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this, Monday.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel. Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Cloudy and cold going through our Tuesday afternoon and still seeing some pockets of freezing drizzle, light freezing drizzle, and some snow flurries. 33 for the high. Clouds, a fall to 17 overnight tonight. Wednesday, partly sunny and 31, 17 Wednesday night. Thursday, partly sunny, still kind of a cold day, but the high may touch 40, sunny and 48 on Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. If your furnace breaks down, call Air Comfort Service for a $99 service call. And don't forget, if your furnace breaks, even on a holiday, Air Comfort Service offers 24/7 emergency service. AirComfortService.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ray.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride. What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, that's an open question. I mean, no one knows who would take over. Obviously, their system is divided between the Supreme Leader and the IRGC that responds directly to him. And then you've got these, quasi-elected individuals, the ones that wear the suits on television who are part of their political branches, but ultimately have to run everything they do by the Supreme Leader. So I don't think anyone can give you a simple answer as to what happens next in Iran if the Supreme Leader and the regime were to fall, other than the hope that there would be some ability to have somebody within their systems that you could work towards a similar transition. I would imagine it would be even far more complex than the one we're describing now, because you're talking about a regime that's in place for a very long time. So that's going to require a lot of careful thinking if that eventuality ever presents itself.
Listening to Secretary of State Marco Rubio, among many other titles, but Secretary Rubio lay out some of the foundation as to what is taking place in Iran, among all of the other conflicts that he is a part of solving, a part of, defending the United States of America through diplomacy from one area of the globe to another. Listening to him in that hearing last week, I believe it was really quite something to take in. I want to get the facts on what's taking place in Iran from the place we go to for things like that. Former United States Senator from Missouri, Jim Talent, back with us once again. Senator, thank you for being with us today. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Hope you're doing well.
Thank you, Annie. It's a great pleasure to talk to you, and thank you for the compliment. Now I have to up my game here.
That's right. I'm putting you on the spot. That's what we're doing here. Can you talk to us, even from the time that Secretary Rubio was in front of that Senate hearing till this moment in time, the circumstances and the context of what's taking place in Iran, in its correlation with America, it's ever changing. Where are we right now? What do people need to understand about what is happening in Iran?
Well, that's a good question. And I think to answer it, we got to go back and ask ourselves, what is the United States trying to achieve in the region? So we want an equilibrium. We want stability, and an equilibrium that advances our security interests. In other words, we don't want stability dominated by some aggressive power, right? And so, what are our interests in the region? Well, we want Americans to be able to move, trade, and travel peacefully on the same terms as everybody else. So, no attacking the shipping lanes, no kidnapping Americans, no attacking America's forces or our partners. We want cooperation with them on various kinds of economic partnerships. You notice the deals that the president's gotten on AI, critical minerals, all of that. We would like stability so we can move some of our forces out of that region to Indo-PACOM. And the biggest threat to all of that is still Iran. And so I think what this is about here, yes, there's a humanitarian element to it, but I think most of it is about getting a regime in Iran that will cooperate with what we want in the region. And so the president is building up leverage, which in this case is military leverage. He often uses economic. There's diplomatic leverage as well. And now he's saying, okay, we'll negotiate. I don't believe, as some do, that it is impossible that these negotiations could produce what we want. I don't think the mullahs will give it to us. I'm not going to give you a lecture here, but I'll be done in a second.
Oh, no,
but I don't
take
think
it
the
away.
mullahs will give it to us. But the regime is desperate now. They're under extreme pressure. I do think it is possible, not likely, but possible, that somebody wearing a military cap may decide, well, you know what, we can't wait for Khomeini to die. We got to take over now and cut a deal with the United States. It's regime alteration rather than what I would call regime change. But if that doesn't happen, then I think we hit them, and I think we hit the regime and its capabilities rather than the people. So I think we will hit the ballistic missiles systems. I think we'll hit IRGC, command and control. That, in turn, may produce regime alteration or change, but at a minimum, it will degrade further the power of the Islamic Republic to disturb what we want in the Middle East. So that's what I think this is about. It's classic Trump. It's building up leverage, going for the big deal, but always having options, always having other things you can get if you can't get the big deal.
Jim Talent speaking with us right now on the goings-on in Iran. I mean, if we're talking the phrase regime change or reconfiguration right now, is this? Would you say that this is an imposition from the United States onto Iran, or more of a grassroots element where, like, is the United States compelled? Are we required to participate in what is taking place in the conflict within Iran for the safety and security of America? Is it America first to participate in the conflict in Iran the way that we have been participating up to this point?
Yeah. From what I can see, both all throughout the region and indeed in Eastern Europe and also in Indo-PACOM, it's all America first. It's all, and we've discussed these conflicts at different times, Annie. There are definite American security interests that our government is trying to advance in each one of these cases, and with Venezuela, with Cuba now. If you read the National Security Strategy, I suggest your listeners, if you don't read anything else, read page 5, which lists the vital national interests of the United States, and we're pursuing it. Now, there's a humanitarian side benefit here, because there isn't a regime in the world that's hated by its people as much as the mullahs and the Islamic Republic is hated. We just saw that. And then they went out and killed upwards of 30,000 people, which is, I think, the biggest massacre probably, I guess, since Pol Pot. I mean, it's worse than Tiananmen Square in terms of the number of people who were killed. So, yeah, I mean, the Iranian people are desperate for change. I agree with Marco Rubio. We don't know exactly what will happen, but if there is regime, and I like your word, reconfiguration, if there is regime reconfiguration, the next leader, I don't think is going to be wearing a turban. I think they're done with that. And if we can get rid of this eschatological radical Islamism in the Middle East, that by itself, and the region may then revert to just mostly authoritarians, but all of them pursuing national interests, we can deal effectively in that kind of a context.
Jim Talent speaking with us right now. I wonder to myself, I'm 41 years old, Senator, and my understanding, my like real life understanding, not what I've learned in the history books or whatever in class up until I was, out of school. My understanding of Iran is really in context of the regime that is there right now. It's kind of they're one of the bad guys. I mean, that's really, if you're somebody who has watched the war on terror and you've seen the parties that have been involved in that, they've been the bad guys in my lifetime. It's just an understanding of how Iran is and how they operate. But I'm always taken aback by the fact that in, the early 2000s, that Iran was still kind of a new Iran, that before they were taken over by that regime, it was a much different country. And I'm wondering if you can give us a little bit of a history lesson for people like me who, we've got our second home and 4 kids and mortgages and jobs and everything. We're not like little kids anymore. We don't really understand that this is still new to people in Iran, that the people who live there right now remember a very different existence in that country.
Yeah, the older ones do. Iran has never been a colony. Iran's been a nation for thousands of years. It's primarily Persian, but it has very substantial number of other ethnicities, a sophisticated people. I mean, expatriates and refugees from Iran have done very well in other parts of the world. It's an educated population. It's really ironic that this is the country that was taken over by this incredibly primitive, aggressive, and as we've seen in the last couple of years, extremely incompetent, group of people who have taken the country down the drain. I mean, the situation with inflation there. They have water shortages, electricity shortages, and they're sitting on a reserve of hydrocarbons, one of the biggest in the world. There's just absolutely no excuse for this. And you got to believe that if they can throw off this regime, things are going to get better in that country pretty fast. And they could play then a very constructive role in the region. So it would be great if the people there can get rid of them. I think we had most of the elements in place for a successful counter-revolution against the regime. But what was not existing and what proved for the time being sufficient to prevent the counter-revolution was it didn't have regime fracture. There weren't elements in the regime that turned against the top leadership. And I think we're trying to promote that through the application of pressure and then also offering this off-ramp. I mean, we want them to get rid of basically the enrichment program, get rid of the ballistic missiles, and stop supporting their proxies in the region, which is what a new leadership would probably do. Because there's really no national purpose to that. I mean, they're a busted flush. They're not going to take over the Middle East. Hamas is gone. Syria is gone. Hezbollah has been substantially degraded. Really, they've got the Houthis left and some ballistic missiles. I mean, it makes no sense from any perspective to be doing this. And I would imagine that's the message that we're trying to get through to regime elements that might be able, to do the reconfiguration. That's a great word that you used. That's what we would like to see.
I want to ask you a little bit on a different subject, probably. If we come domestically and we talk about the protests that we've seen in Minneapolis, certainly there are people out of Minneapolis and Minnesota that are grassroots motivated, and they're showing up and they're exercising their First Amendment and doing so in a lawful way. But there is a sense of an AstroTurf level of protests, and there's a consistency every time one of these major protests show up and they basically take over the city. There is a consistency that we see from protest to protest to protest. Doesn't matter where it is in the country. And we've even seen arrests of people who have been protesting very hatefully and aggressively in Minneapolis that have done the same thing in Washington, D.C. for particular reasons and other places around the country. I'm wondering, Senator Talent, if you know of or fear foreign influence in investing in this sort of disruption. And the reason I ask that is because I remember after the 2016 election when there was an investigation into whether or not Russia actually interfered with the election. I remember the FBI at the time coming out and saying something to the effect of, when you have these people kind of meddling, it's not always that they want a particular outcome. They just want to sow distrust in the democracy that exists in the United States. So I'm always kind of thinking that, like, the chaos is the goal. Do you think there's foreign influence in these protests taking place across the country?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me at all. And you're accurate. Other countries, our adversaries, are constantly using the tools of sharp power to try and confuse our people, to sow distrust, to sow chaos. There's also a lot of radicals domestically that are trying to do that. I mean, this has been what we've seen here as an information operation. It's conflict in the narrative domain. So the same people who let in 10 or 15 million unvetted people, which had never happened before. I mean, it's totally unprecedented that we would open up the border. The same people who took the whole sanctuary city thing to an extreme we'd never seen before. Now they're generating these protests. It is AstroTurf, and the idea is to sow chaos and then convince our people that, okay, you can't enforce the immigration laws because of the chaos we've created, right? In other words, it's impossible to do this because of all the chaos after they've created chaos. They can only do it in a few cities. And so I think the administration's acted effectively in the last week or so because they realize this is a battle for narrative.
Yes.
Now, the problem here is that the people doing this are inherently not credible with the American public on the subject of immigration, precisely because of everything they've done. I mean, I think the administration is going to win this battle in the narrative. I'm pleased. Let's have negotiations over reopening, DHS and what we ought to do with the immigration laws, and then you're going to see Republican senators getting up and saying, "Okay, let's use the spending power and take funding away from cities that declare themselves sanctuary cities. Let's require, through using the spending power, that they cooperate by turning over the convicted criminals and the others." I mean, you're going to see a lot of pro-immigration enforcement ideas coming forward. I love the idea of the body cams. You notice they backed off of that. Originally, the opponents of immigration enforcement raised that issue, and then they decided, wait a minute, we don't want people to know what's actually going on. I think the administration said we're going to put body cams on.
Yeah.
So now what the administration and the Republicans in Senate will never agree to is this judicial warrant. That's just saying we're not going to enforce the immigration laws. They're not going to agree to that. So, yeah, I think you're essentially correct. Now, whether I can trace this back to Qatar or the United Front Work Department, which is the subversive operation that the Chinese run out of Beijing, I can't do it. I'm not an expert in that, but it wouldn't surprise me.
I have one last question for you. Jim Talent speaking with us, and this is a sincere, genuine question. You said Qatar, and I hear people say Qatar and Qatar. Right. What is the right way to say it? Or is it like there's a way they say it there and there's the way Americans say it? How do you know how to say some of these countries' names when they're pronounced differently in so many different places?
Well, I'm gonna answer you in the same spirit of sincerity. I don't know. I've heard it so many different ways.
Well, if you don't know, I don't feel like I have to know.
I think if we heard how it was supposed to be pronounced, I mean, if anybody's a Qatari friend and asked them, it's probably none of those things.
Probably.
It's probably close to those. But, I go on. Sometimes I've heard people pronounce it gutter, as in what you have on your on the edges of your roof. I mean, I've heard it pronounced 100 different ways. So I don't know.
Well, I have great respect for you.
I don't worry too much about it.
And you've alleviated some of that pressure for me because I think before I say the name of the country, every single time I actively process in my mind, how am I going to say it this time? And I'm pretty sure I say it differently every time. So I don't know.
Well, Andy, here's what I'll do. Before I come on the show again, I'm going to ask. I know people who do know, and I will find out. I will ask that question and try to be able to answer it for you and your listeners.
Oh, I appreciate
that. You said you go to me for all the facts about the Middle East.
If you don't know it, you know the people who know it, and that's why we love you. Thank you for being here, Senator Talent. It's always good to speak with you.
Good to talk to you, too. Thanks.
Take care. Bye-bye. I mean, really, that's one of the names. Qatar and Qatar, they could be completely different places. So you can be talking from show to show about the exact same conflict, and you're like, oh my gosh, now there are two places that are having these types of problems or whatever it is. What are we supposed to do? I'm kind of relieved that Senator Talent's not 100% sure himself how to say it. All right. Todd Sivia is going to join us here in about 10 minutes, so stick around for that. If you have questions about estate planning, 2026, now with the big, beautiful bill, there's a lot of new things that are on the table right now. We're going to talk to Todd Sivia about that in studio. You can send us your questions on the Annie Fry YouTube chat. You can also text them to us at 314-241-9797. That's 314-241-9797. And also, real quick before we get to a break here, Fox News reports that the House sends bill ending government shutdown to Trump's desk after 21 Democrats break with Hakeem Jeffries. Uh-oh. Let's get a little more details on that when we return. Don't go away. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com. Reach out to Matt Hayes of Home Shield Foundation Repair simply by making a phone call to 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. Matt Hayes is an expert when it comes to foundation repair. That could mean a lot of different things, and it could mean commercial, it could mean residential. If you serve at a place, if you volunteer at a place, and you know that there is a foundation concern that needs to be at minimum looked at, but most likely addressed, Matt Hayes is a wonderful person to come out and give you a real assessment, an intelligent assessment, and a fair price on getting your foundation back up to the way it's supposed to be. Those leaky basements, the water spots that you know that are in the corners of your basement or wherever you have a weakened foundation, that is going to cause worse problems down the road for you if you don't get it addressed. Call 314-271-9900 online at HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
At Gray Bar, we know your time is money. That's why our services go beyond parts and products. With kitting, pre-assembly, wire carts, and Gray Bar smart reels that keep you moving. We stage materials and manage logistics so you can spend less time sorting and more time installing. And with locations nationwide, we deliver when and where you need it, working to make your job easier every step of the way. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Triton Exteriors, St. Louis roofing, siding, and gutter systems. We'll take care of you and your home. We're #1 in the Ladue, Kirkwood, and Webster area. James Hardy certified. Visit Triton.stl.com to be connected with a James Hardy expert and receive a free estimate. Triton-stl.com or call 314-717-1159. That's 314-717-1159. Triton Exteriors, St. Louis #1 James Hardy specialists.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Working full-time but still falling behind? Learn how real estate education can help you build income and get ahead. On your terms, text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Midwest winters take a real toll on your garage door. Let my friends at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis come out and perform their 26-point tune-up on your garage door and opener. The work is guaranteed, and it's just one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. No extra charge for evening or Saturday service. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis since 1926, 100 years. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. That's overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Annie Fry is St. Louis conservative.
Rich and Luna and myself are not willing to allow that.
So based on your discussion, it sounds like you're moving towards.
Yes, based on our discussion right now, we're moving towards it. Also, we got assurances on the standing filibuster, which is incredibly important. I don't know if you guys remember when I was talking about inherent contempt. A lot of people didn't know what that is. The standing filibuster is an old school parliamentary procedure, but it's a way to break through what we consider traditional norms to get voter ID passed. I think that it's brilliant that they came up with it, but exactly that's why we kind of have these discussions, and we're very happy about the outcome. So there should be a standing filibuster announced soon, and I would actually reach out to Senator Thun's office to ask him about that because they have different rules in the Senate.
So that'll get you to yes tomorrow on the rule.
Yeah, as of right now, we feel very comfortable where we're at based on what we are discussing.
Can I get your reaction to the Clintons agreeing?
So there you have Burchett and Luna outside last night on Capitol Hill saying that the reason they decided to vote in favor of the rule that happened earlier today to bring the bill to the floor so that they could vote to end the government shutdown. They've been negotiating on the Republican side in the House. They're saying we want to force a vote on the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act being the Voter Integrity Act, the proof of citizenship being provided for someone to be able to vote. That's what they're saying. And there are reports that they have 50 yay votes in the Senate right now. And what we heard Luna and Burchett talking about there, Luna specifically, she's there saying that what Senator Thune, who's the majority leader, what he has committed to them is that they would implement a standing filibuster. Now, I am in big favor of people, people talk about nuking the filibuster. It doesn't really matter to me what the Republicans do. Like, if the Republicans do A, that's not going to influence one way or another what the Democrats are going to do when eventually at some point in time, maybe come November when that election happens and they potentially do what generally happens in midterm elections, which is the minority party from the administration wins tens of seats in the House. With a one-seat majority, the Republicans are not looking like they're likely to retain the House of Representatives, but the question will certainly be, how bad might it be at the end? Now, if the Senate is able to retain power with the Republicans, then pretty much what we'll have is a stoppage of business for 2 years because the president can veto anything that gets passed in the House. If they end up getting a 30-seat majority for Democrats in the House, in large part, there are certain things that they can do. Of course, the power of the purse remains in the hands of the House of Representatives, but the president's veto power is significant and executive authority is significant. Lots of checks and balances that we will get to talk about in civics class for 2 years, and nothing will get done. But let's get back to the filibuster here real quick. Should the Democrats take over power, would they get rid of the filibuster right away in an effort to ensure that they could pass through everything they need without any Republican votes, essentially turning the Senate into the same body as the House? The House being a simple majority is what it takes for anything to pass in the House. In the Senate, there's a process where you have to get 60 votes in favor of actually taking the vote on whatever the bill is. That 60 vote to end the filibuster, you have to have 60 people in the Senate agree to say, all right, fine, let's take a vote on the bill. Once you get past that 60 votes, you only need a simple majority in order to pass that. So it could be 50-50 in the Senate, 54 something, 50 in favor of something, I should say, and 50 against something. And then the vice president comes in and breaks that tie with a Republican vice president, of course. That would be J.D. Vance's responsibility to come in, much like Kamala Harris did the Inflation Reduction Act. Was that what it was called? It didn't do that. That's why it's so hard to remember. You'd have J.D. Vance able to break that tie. Well, the filibuster, in order to break the filibuster, if somebody wanted to filibuster a rule, it wasn't what it is now is you just got to eventually get someone to come join along and be a part of a 60-vote threshold. But what the filibuster used to be was a standing filibuster, which was where you had to stand there and hold the floor. You had to show up and participate until you were done participating in order for that filibuster to be maintained. I'm a big fan of that. If you want to hold up government, stand there and hold it up. So if that's what is being implemented here in order to get the SAVE Act to be brought to the Senate floor, which is already passed in the House, we could potentially be closer to an actual voter ID law coming out of the Senate, and Lord knows the president will sign that. So news out of D.C., the House has sent the bill to President Trump's desk that ends the government shutdown. 21 Democrats break with Hakeem Jeffries and support the end of the shutdown. So President Trump will be signing momentarily, I'm certain, and the government will be reopened. All right, let's take a quick break. Todd Sivia, my friend and partner here on the Annie Frey Show. He's an attorney and he's the owner at Sivia Law. You can go to sivialaw.com and learn about his services that he offers. With offices in Missouri and Illinois alike, I encourage you to check out what he can offer you. But let's talk a little. Let's answer some of your questions for free. I got a lawyer in here, and I can ask him your questions. So send them to us on the Annie Frey YouTube channel or text them to us at 314-241 9797. What do you want to know about establishing a trust? Powers of attorney, wills, probate, the whole 9 yards. Your questions for Todd Sivia next. We'll be right back. Point Pest Control. That's Point with an E. Make sure that before spring sets in that you are going to be in a position to ensure you are ant-free in your home. Ants are super annoying when they get into your house because it's like they're there, but you don't see them. And then you see one, and when you see one ant, you know that one ant comes with 100 other ants. So you find that one in your kitchen, and then you kind of look around for the next one, and then you see the next one. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, there's this whole line of them and they're crawling to, I don't know, where there's water and darkness and ickness. That's what ants are. And then you go to try to get rid of them by going to the store and getting some quick treatment, and you do the trick for 48 hours, and then another ant shows up, and then all of their friends are still there having a party on your time. Call 636-798-0023 and get rid of your ant problem and any other pest problem that you have going at the same time with becoming a premium quarterly service subscriber. I am so grateful that our house is ant-free, pest-free, and it's because of Point Pest Control. 636-798-0023, Point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA.
Zero Res wants to give your home the love and attention it deserves. Mark Cox here. Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $119 and take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and mention the 97.1 special.
Surprise!
Surprise!
You know, surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired. Like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
Last year, we had 295 trials where we've been offered a total of $90 million on all those cases. When the dust settled, we had recovered over $1.1 billion in verdicts and mid-trial settlements. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. We won a lot. $30 billion and counting. The best part of all those wins is that it helps you when you hire us. All those wins allow us to let the insurance company know we mean business. And believe me, they know who we are. If you've been injured, Google Morgan & Morgan results. You're not bragging if it's a fact. 3 million people tried to hire us last year alone. That happened for a reason. Visit forthepeople.com and let's get started this minute. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Today's YouTube live chat poll. The DOJ drops 3 million plus Epstein pages with names and images. What's your biggest takeaway? Does it expose elite corruption? Is the DOJ covering up stuff still? Is it time for prosecutions, or is this all overhyped and it's time to move on? We want to know what you think. You can let us know on our YouTube page, youtube.com/@AnnieFry, or you can actually text us at 314-241-9797. Ethan and I are monitoring that text line, and we will read your comments on the air. The time is 1:36, and this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
From Fenton to Fairview. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, we were just able to report to you that the government is going to reopen. The Democrats, 20 Democrats, have departed ways from Hakeem Jeffries to join passage of this bill that's going to Trump's desk. So the government will be reopened probably by the end of the day. That's good news to hear. We've got in studio with us my friend Todd Sivia, and sponsor this show and the planner of my trust with my husband. He's an attorney and owner of Sivia Law. You can go to sivialaw.com. Todd, hi. How are you?
How's it going?
Good. I was gonna say Happy New Year, but
yeah,
now it's
I was going to say
February.
that. I don't think we've seen each other since.
No, a few messages here and there in between, but not in person. You've talked to us before about how the end of the year is a busy time for you guys, but you said January and February is a little bit lighter. You've got some really cool things that you've been filling that time with some events around town. So February 9th, I'm looking right now, 2 events at the Collinsville Memorial Public Library, and it's a estate planning workshop.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of our core values within the organization is education.
Yeah.
So we want to, our goal is to educate the public on what's going on, what's the difference between a will and a trust, and why do I need power of attorneys, and why beneficiaries may not be the best route, and things of that sort. We spend an hour. We talk. I tell stories, and they're all personal stories. So
yeah, I think that it's very helpful for people. I think that estate planning seems like one of those things that is for old people. But that's the wrong attitude about it, because the position that you can help put people in, certainly when the earlier they come to you, and I always implore people, if you're listening right now and you have dependents, like, you don't have to have the Cadillac estate plan, but you do need to have a plan in place.
Well, you need to do it before you have depends.
Yeah. When you have dependents, before you have depends. Yeah, exactly. Not to be too crass about it, but long-term care planning is part of it, right?
Yeah. I mean, there is a way for you to pay for your long-term care. It's either you plan for it, you prepay for it through long-term care insurance, or you're doing it on the back end when you can't afford it, and you come to me, and we try to salvage as much of your assets as possible.
I remember in our conversation with you, and my husband and I were talking to you at your Edwardsville location, and a reminder that there are 2 Missouri locations and 5 Illinois locations, correct? Yep. We've got that Collinsville workshop coming up on February 9th, and in Wright City, Missouri, on February 10th at the Scenic Regional Library. But when I was sitting there with my husband and we were talking to you, you were explaining kind of the long-term care planning, and when different entities that exist to help you pay for health care when you're older, maybe nursing care or assisted living or whatever, like, where you put your money can depend on what kind of help you can get access to. Yeah. So pre-planning this can really, really protect your assets and your estate for your own personal benefit, but then obviously, of course, those who would inherit it.
Absolutely. You don't know what can trigger that may cause you to be in a position where you can't get insurance. So I talk personally. I just got, my dad was just diagnosed with a genetic disease called Lynch syndrome, and there's a lot of cancers that are tied to it. And so before I went out and got tested, I maximized as much life insurance as I could get.
Before you got tested?
Before I got tested.
Because?
Because if I got tested, I won't get it.
Because pre-existing condition?
It's a pre-existing condition. So so I went out and got long-term care. I'm in my 40s.
Yeah.
And, I got long-term care and life insurance. And we were like, okay, well, if my wife probably needs to get it too. If we're going to get it, might as well get both of us. Well, she was denied because she has already been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh.
So I've got it. I'm protected, but we can't get it for my wife. So, we're going to have to save and make sure that we've got a plan in place. And we're talking about us in our 40s. It's
yes.
not,
like this is not, when I said it's estate planning is for old people, I was not including people in their 40s like
right,
I am.
Right.
You're thinking that it's something that like grandma and grandpa end up doing, but really you can prepare and save yourself literally money, but so much pressure and stress by having these conversations right now.
Yeah, because, you don't know when you're going to pass away, and you don't know if you're going to have a stroke or not. You don't, there's early onset Alzheimer's that may hit you in the 50s. There's multiple people that I know, prior clients, they were in their 50s, they had a stroke. So their wife had a stroke, and the husband's trying to take care of them. And he's got to pay for long-term care in his 50s and in the big years of trying to, pay the bills.
That's the big earning years,
college,
yeah.
Put kids through college and make sure he's got everything situated.
What's the average age that people come see you? I don't know if you know that number off the top of your head, because I'm sure it all depends on circumstances. When people are wealthy, they're probably like, oh, I should get this protected.
It's typically when everybody when their youngest child turns age 18. That's probably the time when most people come in. And the reason why is because they don't want to negotiate who the guardian of their children are going to be. So that's usually when I start seeing people. So usually mid to late 40s is when I start seeing that.
You go to SiviaLaw.com and find the office that's located closest to you and set up an appointment. Todd, when I do advertisements for you on the air, I tell people the phone number, and then after I tell them the phone number, I say that the first 10 people to call will get their strategy session free. Can I say that this time?
Absolutely.
Good. It'd be hard for you to say no to that right then, wouldn't it? So please consider calling Todd Sivia, his office, and just figuring out exactly what your circumstances might be. Everybody is a unique situation, but you can call 833-995-WILL. That's 833-995-WILL. And make sure you mention my name, and that $300 strategy session fee is waived. We've got a text line question here. And if folks are listening right now and they want to text us, you can go 314-241-9797. That's 314-241-9797. Text your questions for Todd Sivia. Here, I'm going to read this one from the text line. For the lawyer, my daughter inherited a trust from a relative, and she added her child as the sole beneficiary. Her child is a minor, and if anything happened to her, death or disabled, how would the trust and or will need to be set up so that the assigned guardian would have access to the money to contribute to raising the child, like daycare, educational expenses? And it says, thanks from Grandma.
A lot of those experiences, we always like to have guardians different than your trustees, because if your guardian says, well, I really need a better car, I need a bigger house, having that difference between those two individuals is important, so that somebody can say no.
More people making good decisions.
Yes, exactly. Well, they're thinking it's a good decision, but in all reality, they may not need a bigger car. Like, I could probably take on a couple kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. With my kids and the SUV that we've got, we could take on a couple kids. Don't donate any kids to me, but
I'm keeping all mine. So, in an instance like that, we don't know the details of that specific question from Grandma there. Thank you for texting us. But I'm gonna go a step further, not knowing that personal circumstance, but on a more broad note. If her daughter inherited a trust from a relative and made the sole beneficiary her child, who's a minor, is that money? Maybe you need to know more details, but is that money to help raise her, or is that money for her to inherit, that child to inherit? Like, it seems to me
a lot of times it's just for inheritance.
It's not really there to help with daycare costs. It's it's for that child to inherit, to have.
Right. So now most trusts will have what's called HEMS, which is health, education, maintenance, and support. So it may help them buy a car, it may help them pay for insurance, it may go to college, it may help them to deal with some of the extras that they may need. The food plan at the college.
Yeah.
It's not education, but it's definitely something that you have to live there.
Can you stick around to the end of the hour?
Absolutely.
Okay, I've got a couple more questions coming in on the YouTube chat. Dale, we'll get to your question first. If you want to text us as well, 314-241-9797. We'll throw a few more scenarios. Todd Sivia's way, if you're interested in that free strategy session, I do not know why you would not be interested in this. You can call right now to 833-995-WILL. That's 833-995-WILL. And schedule your strategy session. You mentioned Annie. They're going to waive that strategy session fee. 7 locations in the bi-state region, 1 near you. Go to civialaw.com for more. We'll be right back with your questions for Todd in a minute.
Voices you trust. Mark Cox, Annie Fry, Mark Reardon, Scott Jennings, and more are just a tap away with the Odyssey app. Stream 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Mark Cox here. This is my invitation to you to join me September 30th as we discover the charm of Switzerland, Austria, and Germany with Colette Travel. Spend 4 nights in Bern and 4 nights at the foot of the Alps in Innsbruck. There are cobblestone streets and postcard-worthy mountain landscapes of the amazing Alps everywhere. We'll explore the Swiss capital of Bern and Lucerne, the Swiss paradise on the lake. Plus, we'll travel the Austrian countryside to Salzburg with a visit to Mozart's birthplace and beautiful Mirabelle Gardens featured in The Sound of Music. Colette handles all the details, from flights to meals, hotels, and local experiences. Your only job is to have the time of your life. Don't miss joining me. Call Colette at 800-581-8942 or visit 971talk.com to learn more. The number again, 800-581-8942. Call today.
This station is now conducting a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, we got about 6 minutes left here, and we've got Todd Sivia in studio with us right now. Dale asked a question of Todd Sivia, who is here to talk to you about your estate planning needs and answer your questions. Dale said, if you have a house or property in a living trust, is it important to notify the insurance company?
Oh, yeah. You've got so here's the legal standard within the industry. The industry says, I'll draft the trust, I'll draft the documents, and then hand it to you, and then it is up to you to fund your trust. And funding is, a lot of people get confused with it, but it's really getting your assets in the trust. If it's not in the trust,
That's the funding of the trust.
That's the funding of the trust.
Yes.
If you don't fund your trust, then you have a paperweight. And most attorneys, it is 99% of attorneys that even draft trusts, they don't fund the trust. And if you don't fund it, you may still have to go through probate because you forget something.
Yeah.
So notifying your life insurance, notifying your bank accounts, getting everything.
When you say trust funding, you're just telling all of those people that your assets are in a trust now.
Right.
And designating it.
Yeah. And may change the name on your account to the trust. So you have to go through
a lot of paperwork, a lot of busy work. Another question from the text line at 314-241-9797. Who do I contact to apply for long-term disability insurance? If someone comes to you and is putting together their estate plan, do you help them connect to that, or is that something that you just advise? I would reach out to these people or those.
Yeah,
people?
I just usually another partner of the show is Helbig Financial Group, or any other financial planner that's out there. They handle long-term care. I don't do it. I'm just the educator. I tell you, here are your options, and I'm not here to sell. I don't have a license to sell it. I don't want to sell it because I want to give you the honest feedback versus selling you a product.
I think that the way I looked at it is you're kind of the roadmap for me. So when my husband and I sat down with you, I felt like I was about 6 years old. But you made me feel very confident by the end of the conversation. My husband and I going through this, you feel like you're playing a part when you're in there and you're, like 40. I don't know if I was in my late 30s or whatever when we came in initially, but we don't know much anything. We know we have dependent children. We know we have a house, a few cars, we got a job, I've got a 401k and such. But sitting down with you, Todd, and just you were so respectful, and the way you would ask us questions and help us navigate and plan, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine not going through that process. And a lot of people just don't because they think it's not for them.
Right. And we put it off. I talk to financial planners all the time. They're like, oh yeah, you're going to send me all these clients. I'm like, no. You love your accountant because they're going to give you your tax return and get you money after they're done with you. Your financial planner is planning for your retirement because you're so excited about retiring.
Yeah.
But then
you're like, here's what happens when you die.
This is what happens when you die. This is when you can't. You're in a walker and you can't remember where you put your socks and shoes. That's what I get to talk about. We usually like to have fun. Have fun conversations about it and kind of dream. So
yeah, and I think too though that the worries and the kind of antagonizing nature of the questions that you ask and answer for people, whether they go to see Todd Sivia or not, those worries are still there. So after you have the conversation at Sivia Law and you have answers, for me, in my mind, even in my early 40s, I can kind of put that to bed a little bit because I know that there's a plan in place. So that worry is a kind of a fear of the unknown. When you sit down and you have a conversation with somebody you can trust about a trust or whatever you might be, powers of attorney, making sure you have the right people in place to help you make decisions at time. You can, all of those life transitions that you go through, you actually can live in those moments instead of fret about the paperwork of all of it.
Yeah. There's a lot of paperwork to it, and you got to dot your I's and cross your T's and make sure everything's resolved. So.
Chris Cummins, does he do tax law too? If so, can I claim my kids went through the Leering Center for a tax write-off? No, he doesn't do tax law. I'll answer that for him. I'll get a tax attorney in here and get the Leering Center question answered.
Well, if they charge you a fee.
Now that's a lawyer. He's like, let's get to the details here.
No, if the Learning Center, Leering
Center, Quality Leering Center.
They charge you a fee, you might be able to write it off, but
833-995-WILL, mention my name and get your strategy session fee waived. We've got 2 minutes left here, Todd. What do you want people to know and think about and take away from here?
One, if you go on our website, we're doing a lot of events. We're doing on average about 9 events a month. So if you go on our website at Sivia, SIVIA law.com, you can jump on there, look at all the events that we've got coming up. We're in all over the place, whether it's Centralia, Illinois to Warrenton. We have an event, and we're talking about these things and hopefully teaching you some of the things some of the pitfalls that my family went through.
What are we got a minute left here. Yeah. February 9th coming up at the Collinsville Memorial Public Library in Collinsville, Illinois, an estate planning workshop there, and then another estate planning workshop the next day on February 10th at the Scenic Regional Library in Wright City. Both of those days have 2 sessions, and so you can sign up for whatever. What do they need to bring? What do they pay? How do you sign up?
It's a free event.
Free information from a
free
lawyer.
Information, yeah.
Better
go. It's always free. You don't need to bring anything or anything else like that. We always have pen and paper for you to take notes, and just come with an open mind to educate yourself.
Do they fill up? Huh? Do they fill up?
They fill up.
So
I mean, we have anywhere between 30 to 50 people show up.
February 9th and February 10th. Go to civialaw.com/events. I'm looking at the page right now. You can click to learn more and grab your spot there. Todd, please come back again soon.
All right.
Always.
Well, we appreciate being part of the Annie Fry Show.
I love having you here to answer these questions, and we'll tackle the Leering Center question next time you come in.
All right.
We'll be right back.
Thank you so much.
Don't go away, folks. The Retirement Advisory Group, heard a little bit about that from Todd while we're standing here, but we've got an event also coming up. This is separate from the estate planning events that we're talking about with Todd. This is a Protecting Your Retirement educational event. So this is talking about your money and making sure that your retirement is going to do for you what you've hoped it would do for you, that it's going to meet the mark. If you'd like to learn strategies that give you market growth and protect you from market losses at the same time, this is the event for you. Tuesday, February 17th. The event starts at 6:30 p.m. I'll get there at 6 from 6 to 6:30, and I would love the chance to meet you. Mark Cox and Mark Reardon are going to be there as well. And we've got a new location for the Tuesday, February 17th event. Same time as usual, but this one's at the Doubletree in Chesterfield, which is just off of 64 West and Chesterfield Parkway. Reserve your spot at 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. You can learn more online at retirementkey.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
This is a Fox News alert. A vote to end the government shutdown. I'm Lisa Brady. The House just passing the deal made in the Senate to fund most of the government through September, but Homeland Security only until February 13th, allowing time for talks as Democrats demand changes in immigration enforcement policies.
Some of the folks that ICE is taking came in here legally through legal processes last year. And if the Trump administration doesn't like that, they've got to change the law.
California Congressman Ted Lieu also accusing federal agents of abuse of force after 2 protesters were killed during confrontations in Minneapolis. House Speaker Mike Johnson says some of what Democrats want is already happening, including body cameras for agents. But he says funding for ICE is already front-loaded for several years, warning Democrats against blocking DHS funding once time runs out on the stopgap bill.
So what they will be tying up if the Democrats choose to close the government is these very essential services for everything else: FEMA, Coast Guard, TSA, and other aspects of national security. So it's a very dangerous game that they're playing.
For now, the bill ending the current partial shutdown is heading to the president's desk. Iranian news agencies are claiming a drone completed a surveillance mission in international waters after the U.S. military said an Iranian drone was aggressively approaching a U.S. aircraft carrier in the Arabian Sea and was shot down. CENTCOM also reporting U.S. military intervention after 2 Iranian gunboats threatened to seize a U.S.-flagged oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz. So far, direct talks between the U.S. and Iran are still scheduled for Friday. Investigators in Arizona say the search for Nancy Guthrie continues. The mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie, believed to have been taken from her home.
Every lead and tip is important. We are aggressively
pursuing and looking into every single one.
FBI Special Agent in Charge John Edwards, the Pima County Sheriff, says so far no evidence points to a suspect. America is listening to Fox News.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZzzQuil Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZzzQuil Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel. Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Cloudy and cold going through our Tuesday afternoon and still seeing some pockets of freezing drizzle, light freezing drizzle, and some snow flurries. 33 for the high. Clouds, a fall to 17 overnight tonight. Wednesday, partly sunny at 31, 17 Wednesday night. Thursday, partly sunny. Still kind of a cold day, but the high may touch 40, sunny and 48 on Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Don't freeze as it gets colder. If your furnace isn't working, Air Comfort Service can get you back in your comfort zone fast with a service call for only $99. Get your furnace serviced. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ray.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride. What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We reported just towards the end of the last hour here. Fox News reports the House of Representatives have passed a federal funding bill aimed at ending the partial government shutdown on Tuesday, which will bring the 4-day standoff to a close shortly after the legislation gets to President Donald Trump's desk. The funding bill is a compromise struck between Senate Democrats and the White House that would fund roughly 97% of the federal government through the end of the fiscal 2026. Trump played an integral role in hashing out the New Deal and quelling a subsequent rebellion by conservative lawmakers. To get it over the finish line, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries signaled he was strongly against the plan, despite his Senate counterpart's role in putting it together. But several Democrats bucked his concern in the end to vote in favor of it. 21 Democrats voting in favor of this bill. So the bill goes to the president's desk. I assume he'll sign it in short order. And we speak with our friend, Congressman Eric Burleson, back on the show with us, who represents Missouri's 7th Congressional District, also a member of the House Oversight Committee. Congressman, welcome back. Thanks for being with us this afternoon.
Anytime, Annie.
Talk to us about the day or the days leading up to this. The House was able to get it done. Did you support this bill? And do you think this is a good thing?
No. And the reason I didn't support it, I think that this is a failure on the Republican Party. We did get a lot of wins in this, and it by and large, I'd say the overall package is less than what we've spent before. So that's the one good thing. But at the end of the day, we're still doing a bunch of swampy things in this, what they call minibus package. And those swampy things are the enormous number of earmarks that Republicans had agreed to 2 weeks ago when they brought it forward, earmarks that were handed to them by Chuck Schumer and the Senate Democrats. So, for example, Chuck Schumer himself had an earmark that was for $500,000 for the new Immigrant Community Empowerment Center in New York City.
New Immigrant Empowerment
You had
Center.
nearly two dozen earmarks from different Democrat senators that went to clinics in their district that do gender-affirming care. You had $5 billion that was sent for a resettlement fund. In other words, we didn't learn our lesson with the Somali refugees. We're going to spend more money to resettle people into the United States. So there was a lot of really bad earmarks in the bill, which is why I didn't support it. But what's remarkable is Republicans were told the only way to pass it and to get it through the Senate is to accept these Democrat earmarks. So we took the deal with the devil, or those members that voted for it took the deal with the devil. It went over there, and Chuck Schumer then said, no deal. And they sent it the same language back without Homeland Security funding. And so that's what we ultimately what I voted against, but many of my colleagues and Democrats voted for today, which is a swampy omnibus bill that really benefits the Democrats, and it's putting us in a bad situation because in 2 weeks from now, the funding for Homeland Security is going to run out, and the Democrats are not going to do anything to help us with getting that renewed.
You're a member of the Freedom Caucus, Congressman Eric Burlison speaking with us right now. You've been a hardliner on this. You've said we shouldn't be spending these dollars, and we've gotten to Congress saying we're going to stop spending these dollars. And you've spoken with us many times, and you said your constituents expect you to vote against spending these types of frivolous taxpayer dollars in ridiculous ways. So I think you've been very consistent on this issue, and knowing that there are purple districts out there that are panicked about the possibility of a crazy midterm coming up. I think it's very important for everybody to remember that a member of the House of Representatives, you are there to represent your constituents, not the Republican Party or whatever they think writ large is going to be appeasable across the nation. That's what makes the House so special. With that in mind, you've stuck to your guns on representing the 7th District there in Missouri. How do you grade House Republicans going into a midterm right now? You did mention there were some marginal things to be happy about in this. Are they doing the best that they can with what they have?
I think that we had we accomplished quite a bit leading into the One Big Beautiful Bill. And part of the real wins, in fact, the White House staff that we were talking to last night admitted to the Freedom Caucus that many of the really good things in the One Big Beautiful Bill were only because Freedom Caucus fought for those things to be in there. So we made that package fantastic. And now I think the public is now seeing the reports of what we actually got, the other deals that we got outside of the One Big Beautiful Bill, like an agreement from Republican leadership in the White House that we would not extend the enhanced subsidies. It was an agreement that was done during the One Big Beautiful Bill. We kept that behind, but now that's been reported, so I can talk about that. We also got a full, complete shutdown of the Green New Deal, which both of those save the taxpayers almost $1 trillion. So those are the kind of wins that we were able to get. But right now, I think the wheels are falling off the wagon a little. So we have got this unique opportunity. We have the president, we have the Senate, and we have the House. And I think that sadly, a lot of my colleagues are wanting to coast into the midterms and just run on the one thing that we did with the One Big Beautiful Bill. And I think that's a mistake. I think that we should be going big or go home. We should really try to fix the healthcare system, make healthcare affordable again. We should try to make housing more affordable again. And there's a number of really creative things, free market things that we could do that would be very popular. The other thing is we've got to pass the Save America Act. We realize that the Democrats have tried to corrupt our election system, and we're just sitting by and letting it happen. And we could be forcing the Senate Democrats to filibuster. But at the end of the day, unless we fix our election system, we're going to continue to have this corrupt activity that occurs. So we need to do some big, bold things.
Yeah, 100%. We had Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway on the show yesterday and had a discussion about her lawsuit to ensure that citizens or people with legal status here in the United States are the only ones who are counted. There are so many things. You mentioned the SAVE Act. There's so many things at kind of the head of the stream here that need to be resolved because it's so hard to try to put everything back in the box downstream after we've flooded people into this country very intentionally under the Biden administration, even before that, really. But Joe Biden decided to say, here, hold my beer, my cerveza, you might say, and allow all these people to come into this country without any sort of documentation. And it's dramatically affecting the apportionment of how our legislature is represented in your body of government, but also in our elections. I played a clip a little bit earlier from Congressman Burchett and Luna, and they were saying that they got concessions from Leader Thune in the Senate that they would implement a standing filibuster to talk about the SAVE Act. I hope I said that correctly. Can you give us any input or thoughts on what they have established?
Yeah, I hope that they were able to get that commitment. I'm hearing that Leader Thune is walking it back already. So, that's caused a lot of consternation with other members. But at the end of the day, here's the problem. We have a Senate that's full of a bunch of octogenarians. I mean, these are people that probably are one step away from a nursing home, and yet they're able to, for some reason, continue to fulfill the work of being a senator. And the reason is because the work is nothing. Like whenever I was a state senator, in the Missouri Capitol, we actually, if you're going to filibuster, it's a long and excruciating process. Nobody wants to stand on the floor and talk and talk and talk. Even people that love to hear themselves talk eventually
You think in a
get
Capitol
tired of it.
building that would be
Right.
prime place. I'm going to ask you a stupid question because a lot of people listening right now, I think filibuster is one of those words that gets talked a lot about in my circles and your circles, but there might be people listening right now that are like, I always hear it, but I don't 100% know what that means. Can you explain to us what the filibuster holdup is right now in getting the SAVE Act passed?
Well, I would encourage every American needs to watch the movie Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. If you haven't watched it, it's one of the greatest movies, and that'll give you a really good primer on what a filibuster is. But at the end of the day, this was designed by our founding fathers. The House is supposed to be the group that passes everything based on a simple majority. The Senate is supposed to be the one that slows everything down and gives some power to the minority members to be able to do something. And one of the examples I give is in Missouri, for example, Southwest Missouri, we're home to a lot of cave attractions, right? So we've got tourism that goes through these caves. If for whatever reason, the rest of the senators wanted to start taxing people to go through a cave, then that would benefit the rest of the state, but it would really be detrimental to one senator's district.
Sure.
So that the power is given to that individual to stand up on the floor and talk until they're blue in the face or until the other side gives up. And so that you can have at least one way of protecting your district when it really matters. That's what a true filibuster is, standing there and actually talking until people give in. But that's the way it has been working in the United States until the last few decades, when they passed this new rule that lets them, quote unquote, filibuster without actually
Filibustering.
going to the floor and talking.
Yeah.
So again, that's why, and the reason is these are a bunch of people that are one step away from the nursing home. They don't want to have to physically go out there and actually, create a quorum, stay up late at night, go through the night, or stand on the floor and filibuster. They don't want to lift a finger to do the work. And so sadly, that has created this perverse incentive where the minority can stop any and everything. When
Yeah.
you have a normal filibuster, even the person filibustering is looking for the exit. They're looking for some way to find a compromise solution so that they can stop the excruciating thing of having to stand and filibuster. And I think that it worked in the United States for the first 150 plus years. We ought to reinstitute it.
And that's kind of a compromise between blowing the filibuster up completely and saying, forget about it, and turning the Senate into the same sort of body as the House, which just says you get a simple majority of votes in the Senate without the filibuster that you can pass things through there. Not necessarily what the founders intended either, but this is more true to the law as it was implemented. What reason would they have to say, no, we're not going to do that?
To not do the filibuster?
Yeah.
I think another reason why they like the current rule is that it gives leadership an excuse.
Yeah.
So if there's a bill that they really don't want to bring forward, then they can just blame it on the minority party and say, we don't have the 60 votes, so we're not going to bring that bill up. But if you go to the way the model used to work, then when a filibuster happens, all eyes are on how everybody's voting and what leadership is doing, how much time is leadership going to give to this topic, because that indicates whether or not they really want it to pass or not. So they don't want to be exposed on what they truly want to see passed and what they don't want to see passed.
All right, I need to shift gears here because I was just looking you up on X here before our interview, and I got distracted. And here's you talking about UFOs. And so super distracted, Congressman Burleson. I'm just going to read a quote from this post from Interstellar UAP, and it's quoting you. So I need to get from you if this is actually something you said here. There is reportedly an object found in a country that is so large it cannot be moved, that they've built around it. It is a location, but there is a reported really large object, and I'm requesting to get to those locations. Did you say that, and are there aliens? In no particular order.
So I'm not sure that there are aliens. I have yet to find proof or evidence that there's little.
Are you going to blame the filibuster on not answering this question? I want a yes or no.
But I have been told about an object that is so large that it's in a different country, and I learned about it in a classified setting. That is so large that they built something around it, and it has a cover. What?
The pyramids?
The pyramid? No.
I'm just gonna start guessing.
No, and I really wish I could tell you.
Maybe someday.
But at some point we'll figure out a way to get that disclosed. But at the end, what I'm trying to do in the meantime is see if I can't figure out a way to find my way there, probably under some other purpose.
We're going to be monitoring your whereabouts, Congressman.
I have been given the green light by the White House to go tour some of the military bases in the United States where some of this activity is reported. So, you get reports of people of reverse engineering of craft that's located at some of our military bases. And I've made a request and have been given the green light to go to some of these bases and take a look, and hopefully be able to see something. But I have a feeling if there is something, they're probably going to move it before I get there.
Here comes Burleson. Get it out of here. If they have to build stuff around it, man, I think that would be somebody would notice. They're moving the city.
What I can say, and so I've spoken to a lot of people. There's amazing stories, some of the most compelling stories, but again, they're all stories. I don't have real hard evidence. The one thing that I have seen in a skiff is some video footage. Recent video footage of these kind of glowing orbs that hover over ponds, over lakes, and they are, they do not look physically like it's man-made. This is something that's either supernatural or it's just completely unexplained. So I have seen those things. I can't say where they were located. I know the locations, and I almost want to go camping and see it myself.
Oh, man, that's how scary movies start, Congressman. You don't want to do that.
Right.
Unless you're going to save the world, then maybe we need you. I just think wasn't it last year there was the public hearing where they were talking about like evidence of non-earthly mass, like biomass or something like that. I can't believe that some of these things have been out there in the public, and it was just like yesterday's news. When these pop up, I'm like, forget about the filibuster. Let's get to the aliens. Sorry.
So a couple of weeks ago, there was a group of people from Brazil that came to the United States and did a press conference. There was basically an event in Brazil in the 90s that was similar to Roswell. There was hundreds of eyewitnesses that saw this thing crash, people that arrived on scene. The military, shooed them away. They were able to at least see the debris. And then, and there were reportedly, there were like 3 aliens that were recovered from this. Some of them were injured. One of them was taken to the nearby hospital. And there are multiple doctors that have testified that they basically attempted to treat this alien, quote. So this is all the narrative that has been given with no real evidence or proof. What I can say is I'm going to make a request to the FBI, and who I think would be willing to cooperate, to try to corroborate. There's some parts of this story that we could corroborate, and if we were able to get some information, if the FBI can track it down. So we're going to be sending a letter to request that from the FBI.
Is this part of your oversight committee responsibilities?
Yes.
So this,
yes.
Oh gosh.
I'm on oversight, and it's the most fascinating committee in all of Congress. I mean, we are getting ready to have the Clintons come in for a deposition.
Yeah.
Right. That's oversight. We had Hunter Biden in a few months ago. We investigated the Biden crime family. It never ends.
And aliens.
And aliens. Yes.
I just
And
want to know,
Doge.
and Doge, there you go. I
Doge
just want to
is
know,
part-
like, all I have in my head as a kid who grew up in the 90s is Men in Black and that scene where they have that big wall of all of these people who are actually aliens. And I just want to know who are those people. So if you get to that, I mean, it's funny that I can picture that scene in my head right now, and it's like, oh, that person could totally be from another planet. I have a few people in mind, and so maybe we'll get some confirmation from you on that next time we talk.
Sounds good.
Thank-
If I find out, you'll be the first to know.
Thank you. I will take that as a compliment. I appreciate that. Congressman Burleson, thank you for doing the work and for sticking to your guns. You represent Missouri's 7th District very well. We're glad to talk to you today.
Thank you. Anytime for you, Annie.
Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Congressman Eric Burleson on with us there did not vote to support the bill that ended up ultimately being able to open the government back up again. I don't think that the president has signed it yet, but some Democrats skipping out on following Hakeem Jeffries, supporting the bill and getting it done. And the principled nature with which Eric Burleson chooses not to vote for things, I appreciate that and I respect that. It wasn't a hindrance to getting this done, but still, as a member of the Freedom Caucus, he was able to highlight some things that have been very successful with their influence in Congress. We need more of it. Let's take a quick break. Ethan, Sports and Local. When we come back here, and don't forget that YouTube live chat poll for today, DOJ dropping 3 million plus Epstein pages with names and images. We know more than we did before this drop, that's for sure. What's your biggest takeaway? That it's exposed elite corruption, that the DOJ is still participating in a cover-up, that it's time for prosecutions, or this is overhyped, Annie, time to move on. Go vote in the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll. Text us your thoughts at 314-241-9797. Ethan, Sports and Local next. Well, I'm passionate about helping support kids access true school choice in the bi-state area. I know a lot of you are as well. That's why I have partnered with the Lutheran Elementary School Association. It's so important for you to understand the opportunities that are out there to help plug you into a Lutheran school in this area. They, in Missouri, there are more funds available for students transferring from public schools through a program called Mo Scholars. If you check the podcast from last week, we had Lisa in to talk about what Mo Scholars can provide you. And coming in 2027, there are federal tax credits that could be available through the big, beautiful bill that just passed to help with private education and your school choice. Lisa, the Lutheran Elementary School Association, is at the forefront of making sure that whatever assets are available to you to help make this more affordable, more accessible for you, that you can access a Christ-centered foundational education that is second to none, with opportunities for your kids to grow and learn in an environment that you can trust. If you want to learn more about the local schools, 34 elementary schools, 4 high schools, with another one coming this fall in the Lutheran School Association, go to lisastl.org/Annie.
Hey, it's Mark Cox here with my friend and trusted realtor, Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria, we've worked together for 6 years now. You have 23 years of experience with your Guaranteed Sold program, but many don't know you also have a Guaranteed Multiple Cash Offer program for serious sellers.
That's right. Some sellers are looking for speed, certainty, and to avoid repairs and open houses. I just helped a family in December to sell their parents' estate. They chose me because I offered 4 cash offers at our first meeting, which gave them options picking the best cash offer. Whether it's multiple cash offers or my Guaranteed Sold program, my sellers are always in control to sell fast and for the most money. It's my guarantees and my buyers in waiting program that set me apart from other realtors.
Take it from me. Call Gloria Liu right now at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Gloria and seller must agree upon price and possession date.
You know your customers. Ralph likes his coffee black on Fridays, but Mondays he takes a little cream. Jennifer comes in every 3 years when her lease is up to get the newer and better model. And for some reason, pepperoni pizza sells like crazy on Friday nights. Who knew? At Odyssey, we have the expertise to get your media plan done right. With ads like you're hearing right now, to targeted social media campaigns, search engine optimization, and location-based advertising. Advertise with Odyssey and help us grow your business. Visit ads.odyssey.com.
Triton Exteriors, St. Louis Roofing, Siding, and Gutter Systems. We'll take care of you and your home.
We're #1 in the Ladue, Kirkwood, and Webster area. James Hardy certified. Visit Triton.stl.com to be connected with a James Hardy expert and receive a free estimate. Triton-stl.com or call 314-717-1159. That's 314-717-1159. Triton Exteriors, St. Louis #1 James Hardy specialists.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hold up. Check it out.
Sports and local.
But mostly sports with Ethan Hannaford.
That's the most accurate
That is
sports
true.
and local title that Ryan Wiggins has
But
made.
mostly
Yes.
sports. It'd be funny if you only had local stories today.
The St. Louis Cardinals made a blockbuster trade yesterday. They have made 4 trades this offseason. All of them have been big. This one was the biggest.
Huge.
Huge. The Cardinals have sent utility second baseman / left fielder / everywhere else Brendan Donovan to the Seattle Mariners in a 3-team trade involving the Cardinals, Mariners, and Tampa Bay Rays. The most notable prospect coming back to the Cardinals is pitcher, get this, Jurrangelo Cijntje.
I don't remember who shared it, but it was a retweet of that guy on the pitching mound getting ready to pitch. Is he the switch pitcher?
Yes.
He's getting ready to pitch, and you can see his name on the back. And it says, all right, what everybody wants to know. And it was just the phonetic way to spell it. Say it again.
I'm reading that post
That's
right
the post.
now.
Yeah, there it is right there.
From Cardinals
Cijntje.
Player Development. It is spelled, his last name is spelled Cijntje.
Nah.
How that ends up being Cijntje, I don't know. All I know is I'm glad that he's not going to be in the majors.
I think when Zepchinski was here, didn't they call him Scrabble?
Uh-huh. Yeah, that checks out. That was also another tough
Scrabble.
one. I actually saw someone post
Deluxe
yesterday
Scrabble.
and say, I learned Zepchinski. I'll be fine with Cijntje.
Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned Cijntje is a switch pitcher, though he is probably going to switch to just being a right-handed pitcher this year, which would make sense. That is where he is by far the better prospect, and that's what's going to make him a good starting pitcher if he gets to that point someday. He is the number 91 ranked prospect in Major League Baseball. He's been implemented into our system.
Is he American?
He is from Curacao.
Curacao.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Isn't that also a liquor? Go on.
I don't know. Is it?
We're feeling too much.
He has been implemented into the Cardinals system as their number 4 ranked prospect. We also got a couple of other prospects. Ty Pete is now our 15th ranked prospect, and then Colton Ledbetter came from the Rays. So 3 prospects in return, as well as 2 competitive balance round B picks. So the Cardinals will now, from this trade, basically, they got 2 picks. And now they have 5 in total in the first 70 of the 2026 Major League Draft. And they received 3 prospects in return, 2 of them being top 15 organizational and 1 of them a top 100 Major League Baseball prospect. So this is a huge return. This is the return that people have been hoping that the Cardinals would be able to get. And there's a lot of reason to be excited about this leading prospect, Jurrangelo Cijntje. Hopefully it ends up working out for St. Louis. Sad to see Brendan Donovan go.
Yeah, probably good for him, though. Like, you can care for him in that.
Yeah, he certainly had made it clear, he would love to, be a Cardinal for his career.
Maybe he'll be back.
I hope so. I saw it was a joking post, someone that covers the Cardinals saying, keep an eye on Brendan Donovan for the 2027 free agent market. He's a guy I'd love to have back here eventually, but just perfectly encapsulated what the Cardinal way is, what being a St. Louis Cardinal is. So he will be missed.
He's cute, too.
Killer hair. That's the part I'm the saddest about.
I think you call it the flow.
Hair, yeah. He's got some great
One
hair.
statement, one question. Curacao is a sweet orange flavored liquor made from the dried peels of the La Raja citrus fruit grown in the Caribbean island of Curacao and is famous for its vibrant blue color. And the only thing I know about it is Disney World uses Curacao in a lot of things because it's really it's a pretty color. But the color, like the first when I Googled Curacao, it showed the waters there, like on the beach, and it is the same color as the drink. So fantastic marketing.
What's the question?
That's the statement. The question is, how many people, we've traded away all these people, how many people that we've acquired in all of these trades do you expect to be on the starting roster opening day?
0.
Okay.
No, that's a lie. I'm sorry. Two of them. Maybe one.
Yadier Molina.
Maybe one of them. Hunter Dobbins in the Wilson Contreras trade. He's going to be a starting pitcher this year. Richard Fitz was a pitcher. Yeah, he was a pitcher in the Sonny Gray trade. He has a decent chance of being a starting pitcher as well. He's going to most certainly see time at the major league level this year. It's just a matter of if he'll be on the opening
Predict
day
the
roster.
starting rotation right now for the Cardinals.
Dustin May, Matthew Liberatore, Michael McGreevy, Hunter Dobbins, and I'll say Kyle Leahy. Those are my 5.
In no particular order? In rotation order?
Those are no particular order.
Okay. You heard it here first. Put it on the board. X's and Y's here on the Annie Fry Show. When we come back, if you got questions that you would I've always wanted to ask women this question, or why do men always do fill in the blank here? You can text us at 314-241-9797, 314-241-9797. Ethan and Brad are monitoring those text messages. You can also leave us a comment on the Annie Fry YouTube chat. Trisha's going to join us in just a minute as well. We'll be right back. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com. Matt Hayes, 314-271-9900 is the expert that you've been looking for. You want to have a guy, don't you? And you don't currently have a guy for those foundation concerns at your home. So when you call Matt Hayes at 314-271-9900, you'll quickly learn why so many other people, they're like, oh, you got a foundation problem? I've got a guy. Well, that guy is Matt Hayes at Home Shield Foundation Repair. Small jobs, big jobs, fixing that basement that's got water coming into it, and you've noticed that it's gotten worse here in the last 6 months or year. You call Matt Hayes, that job's going to get done right. And that waterproof basement that you're going to have when you're finished working with Home Shield Foundation Repair, a lifetime warranty to stand beside it. 314-271-9900 is the number to call and to rely on the expertise and, I'm just going to say it, the localness of a place like Home Shield Foundation Repair and a company built from the ground up by Matt Hayes. The right people, the experts, and the good service that you've been looking for. You've got a guy, and his name is Matt Hayes. 314-271-9900, HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
Did you know replacing old vinyl windows with more vinyl windows might not be the best choice? Hi, it's Kim, and I'm here to tell you about Infinity from Marvin Windows, because these fiberglass windows, they're energy efficient, they're beautiful, and they're custom built to fit your home perfectly. The team at Lakeside Renovation and Design just makes the process so easy. I love the fact that they even offer a lifetime workmanship warranty. Look, if you're tired of drafts, high energy bills, or maybe hard to open windows, now is the time to upgrade. Visit windowsbylakeside.com to schedule your free consultation today.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. One question I'm always asked is, how did you become the largest injury firm in the world with over 1,000 attorneys and $25 billion in verdicts and settlements? One way was our financial strength. Medical malpractice is the third leading cause of death in America. To prosecute a typical case costs up to $250,000 in case cost. We advance them all. Product liability cases can have similar costs with an army of lawyers on the other side. Automobile insurance companies have the resources to fight. Guess what? So do we. Many law firms simply may not have the financial firepower to work up your case the way you deserve. And we don't charge by the hour. No recovery, no fee. If you have a question about your case or wish to become a client, go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer. 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
I'm Dr. Nick Barnes at Health From Within Family Chiropractic in Rock Hill. At Health From Within, our mission is to transform the way you manage your health by bringing you the truth about health and healing. We use proven techniques to remove interference in the nervous system and maximize health naturally, without drugs or surgery. Connect with me at healthfromwithinstl.com and join me for Maximize Living on this station every Sunday at 8 a.m. or download the Maximize Living podcast, healthfromwithinstl.com.
Today's YouTube live chat poll, the DOJ has dropped 3 million plus Epstein pages. They've got names and images. What is your biggest takeaway? That's our poll. It exposes elite corruption. It's a DOJ cover-up. Time for prosecutions, or it's overhyped and time to move on. We want to know what you think. You can text us at 314-241-9797, or you can leave us a comment on our YouTube page and vote in the poll there, and let us know what you think. What do you think about this Epstein dump? The time is 2:38. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. Where common sense rules the mic. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative. X's and Y's.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Go vote in that YouTube poll. We'll give you those results in about 20 minutes from right now. It's X's and Y's time. And so we're going to ask some questions back and forth here, boys versus girls, so to speak, but really in an informative kind of way. This is also an opportunity for you to participate by throwing your questions like, what do you want to know from the ladies here? Trisha's in the room with us. Hi, Trisha.
Hi, Annie and Brad.
I like that we get to speak for women.
Yeah, just blanket.
Yeah, because you and I are exactly the same.
Exactly the same. We
I
represent
apologize
all women.
for saying that. You're better than me. If you want to text us at 314-241-9797, you can do that. Brad's in here. Ethan's going to be back here in a second. He's doing what Mark Reardon told him to do, which is fine. So, Brad, maybe I'll let you go first and ask the ladies a question, and then we can throw some
Okay,
back.
so this one's kind of a big question, but I was thinking about this the other day. As a man, whenever I'm interacting with the youth group, with kids in the youth group, or like with my nieces or nephews at home, I have to be really conscious about how my actions are being judged and what people are looking at. And what my question is do women face any like comparable stigmas along that line?
I don't get it. Because, like, you're saying you're
Like
being...
in terms of like of kids
Yeah,
specifically?
like so if I'm a single guy and I've got my nephew or my niece out, and people they look at you differently whenever you're a single guy with a kid, or a single guy.
I do think men have to be more careful with that.
Are there
what is the implication here?
that there's
men
something
are more likely
inappropriate?
to be predators.
So the presence of a man and a child out and about raises eyebrows.
Yes.
That's what you're suggesting?
Or I think how they interact in
Yeah.
depending, like Brad said, in like a youth group or
Yeah, like I don't do hugs.
Yeah.
Stuff like
Me
that.
either.
We do.
I'm worried about the perception.
Yeah.
I hug everybody, so
And
I told you we're exactly the same.
And,
Yeah.
and it went as far as like these were conversations that we had whenever I was in college for youth ministry. Is like you have
Barriers.
to be very careful about like what you think is the barrier, then you back up even more.
So the question is, do women face something similar to that?
Any sort of stigmas like that.
I think women have to be. It has nothing to do with that specific. Nothing to do with kids, but I think women have to be careful about speaking up sometimes. I think there's a woman sometimes can be perceived as overstepping in situations where a man wouldn't be. Maybe like I find myself in meetings sometimes where I'm like,
yeah,
it's not exactly. It's obviously not apples to apples, but as a woman, I question the value of my voice sometimes.
I think certainly as somebody who's now in my 40s, and I've been in radio since 2009, so it's 26. That's how long is that? That's a long time.
Math.
27 years.
You've been in radio
15
for 27.
No,
What?
15 years. 15 years, not 27 years. Okay. Well, that's since 2009, but I've been in radio since 2006, so it's 20 years.
20 years.
20 years for that. I was going to
Very
say, I
long
thought it was
time.
in the 20s, but that's radio in total. But I 100% think that when women stand up and speak, your tone and your presentation, you have to be soft in tone for some people to even consider listening to you. Men don't want to hear counterpoints. I don't think men want to hear counterpoints from women or disagreements from women, but that doesn't mean that they won't. I think the visceral initial reaction is if you're a female and you're speaking up, there is an aversion to that if you've built respect with the people in the room or on the meeting table at the church meeting or whatever it is, that people will respect you for it, but I think women have to work harder for it. So I think if you're a female and you're standing up and speaking, you're a natural inclination, like obviously if you're a man around children, you're not a predator. If you're a woman and you're standing up to speak because you have a thought in your head that you might want to share, doesn't mean you're a witch. I could say the other word, but I chose not to, right?
Yep. Well done.
That's
how we're different.
I'm trying to think if there's any other stigma. I mean, I would say if you're a female and you're around, if you're a woman working in a man's world and you're like going out to lunch with other men or whatever, and then all of a sudden something good happens in your career, there certainly is a stigma as how you got there.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, women have to be careful friendships, professional friendships.
Yeah, like define boundaries and barriers and understanding that the because it sucks because you might climb the ladder and you might excel, elevate in your career, but there are always going to be those people who will raise their eyebrow about that, and I just look at those people down below me and wave. Just kidding. I mean, kind of. Yoo-hoo. Yoo-hoo.
Ethan's here.
Yeah. Sailor boy. If Ryan were here, that's what he would say.
That's true.
Here's a question from the text line. I'm going to read this first one that you put up here, Brad. Is there a certain fragrance? Is this from the text line?
Yep.
Okay. Is there a certain fragrance that you wear or you smell that particularly, this is a voice to text from somebody. Is there a certain fragrance that you wear or smell that particularly gets your attention that could be from your spouse or from someone else possibly? Yeah, pheromones. Just kidding. Pheromans.
Oh, God.
Johnny Dongan. Where's Ryan when you need him? I've talked about this before, that I'm glad Ryan's not here, because when I said that god-awful phrase, I would like to smell that right now. I was talking
Can't
about...
take that back.
No, he remixed it. Because when Ryan wants to apply himself,
All
he
in.
shows up A+
Excellent
in
point.
spades.
Yeah.
Yes. I was talking
4 times
about
a year it happens.
Curve for men from circa 1998, yellow bottle. The blue bottle was for women, and it smelled good too. I have that at home from 1998. But Curve, Aspen was a cologne. But it's funny, it's like all these colognes that like young boys that I was around or liked wore. The cologne my husband wears from Italy in Epcot. But it's still from
Very
Italy.
worldly.
It's still Italian and it was expensive. It is nice cologne. But that's kind of how refined I am. It is from Italy via Epcot. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I have
Deodorant's always good.
Yeah, I appreciate deodorant. I have certain like perfumes that I like. There's a Scada that takes me back. There's the way the lobby smells at a vacation spot in Mexico.
Yeah.
And I found a perfume that kind of matches that smell and it kind of takes me there. But I don't know that this is like a men and women thing. And it's definitely not like I catch a whiff of something and I'm like, ooh, I'm like all hot and bothered by that.
Do you think that there is a cologne out there that is meant to smell like the new car smell? Anyone? You guys know the new car smell?
There's
like
always
it's like it's
candles.
just like, oh, you
Candles
get there,
for
you're
men are
like,
like
this is
dirt,
amazing. This
grass,
is great.
Mowing.
I want a cologne
Sausage.
that is the new
Meat.
car smell.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Is that for you? Or is that
Maybe.
for her?
Like you,
Not for my wife. It would be for me.
You want to
That-
walk around
I
smelling
associate
like
that.
a new car.
I
yourself.
associate that as a manly smell. New cars.
You trying to attract men?
No. I'm wearing it on my.
You know who really likes cars? Brad's going to be hanging around you rubbing elbows all the time.
Yeah. I got into cars because I thought I'd get girls. I was wrong.
Got Ethan.
I want to like smelling that all the time. That's what I'm saying. I want to be able to smell that all the
Maybe
time.
you need a candle.
So you put cologne on for you.
Yeah, I'm not really. Yeah, I would
That's
say
a good
so.
question. Do women put perfume on for themselves or for other people? And do men put cologne on for themselves or other people?
I wear it for myself.
Okay, Ryan.
I definitely put it on for other people, be that my wife or whatever. But
Half the time I forget to like even wear cologne.
Yeah,
so
see,
when I
but
do,
that's
I'm
me
like,
too.
oh yeah, I'll wear this
like
today. Oh, it
cologne
smells
doesn't
good.
go
Yeah.
on unless I'm wearing a suit or a button-up shirt, something like
I
that.
think it depends on how many times you spray it. That's how you know if you're wearing it for yourself or someone else. If you're spraying that like 4 or 5 times,
that's too many.
It's for other
Yes.
people, I
Way
think.
too many. Way too many. I wear it for myself.
But there's
I wear
people
for
who
me
do that.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all the smelly things. They're for me.
Mm-hmm.
For certain.
It's somebody's too close if they're like, that smells really good. I'm like, okay, bubble. I'll hug you, but I don't really want you to know about the smell.
Let's take a quick break. We'll do some more X's and Y's when we come back. If you want to send us your questions, 314-241-9797. That text line is open for you. Shoot those questions this way. Let us know if you want us to ask the ladies or the men. And we'll wrap up the YouTube live chat poll question for today about those Epstein files. What's your biggest takeaway of the drop so far? Annie Fry YouTube channel to vote. 314-241-9797 to text us your questions. We'll be right back. Stewart's American Mortgage, the bagel loan guy, 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Reach out to Stewie and talk to him about a bagel loan for you. That could be a new mortgage or a mortgage refinance or a cash out mortgage refinance. Tap into that equity in your home and replace the deck on the back of your house. That's what we did. Maybe you've got to replace the HVAC system. Maybe you want to go on vacation or pay off some high interest credit card debt. Whatever it might be for you, when you go to get that mortgage refinanced, you want the best possible deal. It's at Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage. Bagel loan comes with $0 in closing costs. There are none. He takes care of them for you. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. That's the number to reach Stewart's American Mortgage. You can Google the bagel loan to find out more information about that. Reach out to Stewie and tell him that Annie said hello. NMLS number 226715.
97.1 FM Talk is proud to support Bourbon for Badges. Mark Cox here. It's hosted by the St. Louis Whiskey Society and the St. Louis Hero Network, February 27th at Tapawingo Golf Club. Get your tickets now at bourbonforbadges.com. Hi, it's Mark Cox inviting you to join me September 30th as we discover the charm of Switzerland, Austria, and Germany with Colette Travel. Spend 4 nights in Bern and then 4 nights at the foot of the Alps in Innsbruck. From the cobblestone streets to the postcard-worthy mountain landscapes of the amazing Alps, we're going to explore the Swiss capital of Bern and lovely Lucerne, the Swiss paradise on the lake. We'll travel the Austrian countryside to Salzburg with a visit to Mozart's birthplace, and then Mirabelle Gardens featured in The Sound of Music. This and so much more. Colette handles all the details. The flights, the meals, the hotels, the local experiences. All you have to do is have the time of your life. Don't miss this trip. Meet me and the folks from Colette to learn more at the Lodge at De Pere, Tuesday, February 24th at 2 p.m. Call Colette at 800-581-8942 or go to 971talk.com/events for details.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, health care, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
The Annie Fry Show is St. Louis conservative.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show, that YouTube live chat poll. The Department of Justice dropping 3 million plus Epstein pages with names and images. What's your biggest takeaway? The exposure of elite corruption? The DOJ is still trying to cover everything up. It's time for prosecutions, or it's overhyped and time to move on. Annie Fry YouTube channel in the live broadcast right now. You go to youtube.com/@AnnieFry, F-R-E-Y, and vote. You can also text us your X's and Y's questions, but you pretty much have to do it right now. 314-241-9797, X's and Y's. Brad, why don't you give us another one of those listener questions?
Yeah, so this one's from the chat line, and as I'm reading it, it sounds more like a rant and less like a question, but it says...
So it's a woman, just kidding.
Yes. No. This is a dude asking about women, so at least I
It's
assume.
a disgruntled man.
Yeah. Why do women worry
Ryan.
about every little thing weeks in advance when most plans don't go exactly how you expect them to go to ever? And anyway, and in the end, all they have done is cause themselves stress and anxiety, taking years off their lives for no reason at all.
Because
with a
men
ton of
don't
it.
think at all.
Yeah, so you don't have to.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
If men would pick up their portion of the down the line thought process, then we wouldn't have to do it all by ourselves.
We need that time to do it for all of us.
So I want to respond on behalf of men. Ethan, I don't know. You let me know if you agree with this.
Go ahead.
Ethan's like, I haven't really thought about it.
So whenever, as a guy, I look at the situation and I'm like, all right, so here's the plan, and it's just a general plan. But I trust myself to be able to react and respond appropriately as things change in the moment.
Sure, you just said it. You're going to react.
Yeah, so
Instead of plan.
we're more reactionary than we are planning, because if you plan, the way I look at it is, what will end up happening is the plan's not going to go right, and I'm going to have to react anyway.
Well, you need to plan better. Just kidding.
I mean, there's
you
just
need a plan on top of a plan on
there's
top of a plan.
so many variables in life that you can't control any of them.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
Which one, me?
I'm trying to process with Brad. I'm trying to process where I fall in that. I guess I've never really thought about it.
I'm going to interject here too before you finish though. But why do women always worry about every little thing weeks in advance? It might look like worrying to somebody on the outside looking in, but it might just be planning or thinking or analyzing, and not so much worrying. Like if a man were to put that upon themselves, a man might feel like that would cause him to worry. But for a woman, our brains are always thinking, we're always planning, we're always looking to protect and to provide. And so it manifests in a lot of thinking that men aren't doing. Men are different in that position. I'm sorry.
In like a
interrupted you, Ethan.
micro level, it's when you go to leave the house, you need 50 different things to leave the house to go to the place.
Yeah.
And sometimes that looks like, oh, I'm running around the house all wound up, but really it
checking boxes.
I'm checking boxes, and it means that everybody's got their water and their shoes and their everything that they need.
So here's what I'm hearing. The biggest difference here is you guys are coming at it from a parental point of view. It sounds like more so. And I don't have that. Brad doesn't have that. So I wonder if that is part of it too, because I feel like my wife doesn't even really think like that necessarily either. So I wonder if, that's part of it.
There are a lot of people who rely on me to have my stuff together. And it's not certainly just children, but at the top list of priorities, it is my children.
But even when we sit down in the car,
managing the house.
Yeah, I hand my husband the sunglasses that I remembered to pick up on the way out. I don't have to.
Why were you so worried about the sun getting in his eyes, Trisha?
But that's my brain going, okay, and he's going to need to be able to see when he drives.
Yeah. Oh, such a small thing. I don't know. I think men think women are worrying quite often when they're actually just thinking and processing.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't think, I do think men react more and maybe live moment to moment in a way where they feel comfortable reacting. I don't think either way is wrong. And I think if men are around women who do that, you should probably tell them thank you. And if men aren't worrying at the same time, women, you should probably tell them thank you. Kind of needs a partnership to function.
They complete each other.
Results of the poll?
208 votes on today's YouTube live chat poll. DOJ drops 3 million plus Epstein pages with names and images. Biggest takeaway. Pretty even today.
Yeah, it is.
DOJ cover-up still gets 14% of the vote. 25% of the vote goes to Overhyped, Move On.
Wow.
29% goes to Exposes Elite Corruption. And 32% goes to Time for Prosecutions.
Mark Reardon next. Don't go away.
Mix up your exercise routine to live longer. More than 100,000 people's exercise habits were examined over 30 years, and not surprisingly, people who exercised more had a lower risk of death than those who exercised less. But among people with similar amounts of movement, those who did a combination of exercise types had an additional 19% lower risk of death compared to those who stuck to the same regimen. The study is published in BMJ Medicine. I'm Margie Schaefer.
As the owner, coach, and quarterback of your small business, you call the shots. From inventory to payroll